I am ready and just super pumped for this match.
Radiant team pick.
As
Right.
my microphone volume is now actually on, which is great. You actually saw me just talk for just literally. You thought I was mute or something. I was moving my mouth, but no sound came out. But yeah, we do have a
10
draft here between the
seconds
two teams.
Yeah, it started off very standard,
5
very meta
seconds
drafts. It
remaining.
looks like both these teams have been watching the major, the qualifiers, and everything. The
Reserve
bans and
time.
picks have been very, very standard, but things are starting to diverge a little bit as we come into the second phase. You see the Necrophos ban and the Lifestealer is standard more or less, but the Abaddon pick a little more unusual. He's been kind of a situational hero, a little bit of a pocket pick. What do you think of the Abaddon against Coddle Lifestealer?
Um, well, Coddle is generally banned out for teams in the first phase. It's a little bit interesting that UConn decided to take out a Luna, but if they're managing to pick up a Coddle anyway, it's not really all that big of a deal. Slaughter Lifestealer just one of those things that we're so used to seeing from teams. I mean, it used to be every single game right before 7.00 that you would see a Slaughter and a Lifestealer in it, so it makes a lot of sense here. Able to pick up two very strong heroes alongside that Kata, which is just kind of really annoying to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And I like this Timbersaw pickup from University of Connecticut. They have a very aggressive, very push-centric draft with the three strength heroes. They're going to be able to fight a lot early, and I think they're going to play very, very aggressively in the early game. And I think they're going for high ground around 20 minutes or so. What do you think University of Rhode Island is going to want to do to counter this? Are they going to play something else team fight centric, or are they going to try to avoid fighting as much as possible?
Reserve time.
I mean, UConn honestly, they should just go right for it. They've got a Timbersaw, a Lifestealer, Slaughter. They're gonna be trying to go for the pick-off play, and I mean, if they can just get a hero off right at the beginning of the fight, they also have really good access to Roshan. I think UConn are going to completely be the aggressors here. I mean, URI, they have some good pick-off potential. I might actually look to see an Invoker coming out from them just because they have a really... Okay, they're not going to have an Invoker, they're going to have a Shadow Fiend, but they did have a really good setup for that with the Centaur Blink into Stomp into Double Edge. They would have a very good Sunstrike setup for some easy kills for the Invoker to get, but instead of that, they're going to pick up a Shadow Fiend here. I'm interested to see how he ends up doing here. I think he's going to be under a lot of pressure in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend a lot on the rotations of University of Connecticut. I do like the Shadow Fiend pick based on the draft that URI has so far. They don't have a ton of deep push. You have Fade Bolt and you have Double Edge, but you can't really spam those as much as you'd like. And the Shadow Fiend, they're taking advantage of the greedy support pick from UConn. So they're hoping that the fact that they're only going to be able to rotate one support or do something really obvious with the Coddle is going to give them the opportunity to get a lot of farm in that mid lane. So I like it. It's a very aggressive pick, but it should be beneficial for them. We'll see how it pans out.
That's an interesting point that you bring up if the Coddle is going to be just doing something strange on the map. Because, you know, there is always that possibility that we have, you know, a different support that's going to do the roaming duties. So it could actually be the Slaughter here, which generally isn't all that strong at roaming. Can put a little bit of control out, but in general, it's kind of difficult to get the Slaughter around the map. Just really wants to get through that early farm. And actually seeing a Timbersaw here, it brings the Slaughter's position into a lot of question. They could run in the mid Timbersaw against the Shadow Fiend. Would probably not be all that bad, but would have to worry about the magic damage a little bit. If the Slaughter comes out, but I'm still... Okay, it's going to be a Storm Spirit. So we do indeed have a support Slaughter with an offlane Timbersaw.
Right. This is going to be, looking at both these drafts, it's going to be a very, very aggressive game. There's going to be a ton of fighting and a lot of movement around the map looking for picks. I think I favor University of Connecticut in a straight-up fight, but if URI, if they're able to be nimble around the map, they're going to have a very good time, I think.
Yeah, UConn have a draft that is very cohesive. It's going to work really well together. The question is, are URI going to be able to snowball? Because if you take a look at their lineup, they get an early blink on the Centaur, if they have Shadow Fiend and start getting some good farm, they can snowball here, and that really absolutely has to be their game plan. They've got an Abaddon on the backline to be able to disrupt things with an Aphotic Shield, tank up some damage for their team. But he's going to actually be a support Abaddon, so we'll have to see how it works out for URI. Meanwhile, we will get into this match, and we'll have to see how it goes. This is a best of 3, so I still have my hotkeys a little bit messed up, but we are getting into it and seeing how it goes. It's going to be the pick-off play for the Radiant side, and the name of the game for Dire is going to have to be Snowball.
Yeah, I think they're going to be wanting to counter-initiate any fights that are being taken. So the Dire focus, I think, in this early game is going to be vision. Where do you put your vision? How are you going to utilize it effectively to ensure that that snowball is a possibility? Because if you fall behind in the early game, you're in huge, huge trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. We get these early wards out for the Radiant side. We got the customary smoke out to do it. Looks like Sark is putting out a couple of taunts out right now, but we are making our way into the lanes, and there was a bit of a stack top from UCONN. Moving into the lane right now. Unfortunately, these lobbies are not ticketed, so we don't have pro player names, but looks like UCONN, they've got a couple sponsorships under their belt for their school club. Yeah, Lifesteal is going to be making his way over onto the Dire side. Rubik maybe hits him a little bit here. They're just trying to secure themselves a rune. And with this, UCONN are actually going to be able to pick up 3 runes. Even the Slark is taking a little bit more damage here. Weezy trying to back away, but he really can't hang out near the Coddle at all. That's going to be 3 runes right off the bat going to UCONN. A little bit of the outmaneuvering on the Dire side here.
Yeah, I think I would have liked to see Rhode Island contest that a little bit more. You know, there wasn't a lot of kill potential, but they kind of just rolled over and let them take a 3rd rune for free, which is going to be super beneficial against this aggro tri-lane. You're going to want to have that advantage anywhere you can get it.
So the goal of this tri-lane is just to shut down the farm of the Slark, make it really difficult for him in the early game, and I think this could definitely work pretty well. Lifestealer is going to be really difficult to kill for the Dire side, so the chances of this tri-lane not really going too well are kind of low. You do have the Observer Ward being placed down on the other side by the Abaddon, and he's just not really all that strong of a support in the early game. He really benefits from levels, and in a tri-lane situation, you're really not going to have as much access to that.
Absolutely, and I would like to see them start pulling, but the pull has been blocked, and it doesn't look like they have any sentries with which to deward that. And the Observer Ward for the Dire put down in a really strange place. He's losing a lot of vision from that tree on the left.
Yeah, so he's not seeing too far into the jungle here. You talked a little bit about the pull. I'd also like to see the Radiant side get some pull off, because you see how far up the creep wave is here, up underneath the Dire tower. You really do not want the Slark to have access to that much farm, so they do start to have the hard camp pull over to the side here, but it's already 1.5 minutes into the game. We've had 3 waves come up for the Slark. This could start a little bit early here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as you're mentioning that hard camp pull, the Radiant does just that, and they got the Hellbear Smasher too, so that's the one you want when you're pulling to the side. But Slark, he's finally going to hit level 2 if he can get this last hit. There he goes.
Yeah, if he gets the last hit or not, he would have gotten level 2. Last hits don't factor into that so much, but yeah, this tri-lane taking his levels down quite a bit, and Slark is of course one of those heroes that does benefit from those early levels. He's not being able to farm up so much. Lifestealer is ahead of him on that. UCONN are doing pretty well in most of their lanes here.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and I think these lanes are going to swing more in their favor as the game goes on. As Timbersaw gets a few more levels and he's able to stand up against the Centaur Warrunner, he's going to have even more of an advantage, just because Timbersaw always wins lanes against melee. And this mid lane could go either way, although Storm Spirit is ahead in CS.
There's a mana leak on to Slark, and he's actually going to jump away through it, taking away all of this mana. The open ones come out, but I think that was just on the edge. Oh no, it was Aphotic shielded off of the Abaddon, but the first player is going to come in anyway. Switch comes in and takes it with his Slardar. Pretty easy to get that one once they get the surround off, and maybe they would have liked to get the Slark in that situation, but just weren't able to get onto him.
Was a pretty significant misplay from the Abaddon. He shielded the Slark, who was completely away from every single
he was
enemy
open
heroes.
moves, though. Like he was very slow without the Aphotic shield.
Yeah. nevertheless, I think he would have been able to get away.
No, it's possible. I think you're underestimating the open wounds, though.
Fair.
In any case, we've got Timbersaw putting a lot of pressure onto the Centaur here. Could even go underneath the tower, but the Centaur is going to pop the Mango. Still a lot of damage going out on the Centaur, and the Double Edge is only level 2, so the Timbersaw isn't going to be really worrying about the damage a whole lot. Meanwhile, rotation in the mid lane for the Slider. Once you take that top, easy kill top, Slider just comes in from the backside, and Shadow Fiend is not the most difficult of heroes to kill off either, so it's going to be another kill going the way of UCONN at the mid lane.
Yeah, and as I was saying, it just depends on the rotations from the supports, how this mid lane goes. And there's no ward vision at all in this entire area of the map. It's just a blank void, and if the Slardar, oh, he's pulling in the jungle or something, then it's just a free death for the Shadow Fiend. And what do you know? Storm Spirit's going to snowball even further, which is the last thing you want in this game.
Yeah, this is the kind of lineup for the Dire side that they absolutely cannot be behind in the early game if they want to do well. So we see the Storm Spirit taking a little bit of damage from the Chinese here, but he's completely fine. He's got another Invis rune for himself, and Dire absolutely have to stay back and at least be able to get some kind of farm in this early game, because it's not really going their way at all. Tons of pressure from the Lifestealer and Coddle combo at top. Coddle's kind of low on health and mana. He's got to get that back up and doesn't have any kind of reach, and they might just decide to go back and go for a shrine right now, just because they would like to just be able to continue to pressure the Dire safe lane.
Absolutely, and I feel like these aggressive tri-lanes are so strong on the Radiant side, because you have that easy access to the shrine. Slardar kind of getting a little tussle down there. But yeah, that easy access to the shrine means you can be so aggressive for so long. You can burn all your health, burn all your mana, and it's just a short little jaunt down to that tower. And Dire has to go all the way to the middle of nowhere.
So our lanes right now, they are going pretty far in advantage of the Radiant side. Every single one of them at least we have the slight advantage by the Radiant, even if there are a couple of kills coming through. And maybe Weezy even decides to stay in this lane a little bit too long against Lifestealer. Rotation comes back to top from the Coddle, and we still have Slardar waiting in the trees here. He's just kind of being really sneaky. At mid, there is a rotation in by the Abaddon. We'll see if he's actually able to help the Shadow Fiend at all. And there will be the A5 shield eventually, making it so that the Storm Spirit finds it really difficult to trade there. Slardar will get lifted up at top. There's the telekinesis back, but there's only so much that the Dire side are able to do without the Abaddon, and then they just back away.
Right. Even if they're not getting kills, they're still happy that the game is going in this direction. Because, again, they're not getting that snowball that you discussed at the beginning of the game. They need to be ahead in the laning stage in order to progress through the mid-game. Being even is perfectly fine. So they'll just keep harassing, they'll keep forcing the Slark out of lane, keep that Slardar over in the jungle just to upset the enemy team.
Rotation back to top has been scouted out by the word that just expired. And taking a look at the Slardar, I was questioning that a little bit. I was wondering, why would you go for the Blink Dagger when you could just pick up the Tranquil Boots and have your gank potential be a little bit better? But he is actually going to go back for the Tranquil Boots, not going for his Blink Dagger just yet.
Right. There's no need to rush that item. With the way that the game is progressing, he's got all the time in the world to start those team fights, and he'll be able to initiate just fine with the sprint and get the picks that he needs in order to pick up his blink.
Oh no, the Rubik in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to get the telekinesis off, but no, he's going to get hit with the open wounds. They need the A5 shield. Is he actually going to be able to get away? No, the stun comes from Slardar as well. And the aggression from the tri-lane just keeps on coming from the Radiant side. And, well, honestly, what do you think that the Dire side need to do in this situation? There's just a lot of aggression coming from Radiant.
Vision. They have no vision on the map. They can't see where the supports and the aggressive tri-lane are. The Slark, he's not in the lane farming when he could be. They need to rotate and maybe get that Centaur up there. He's got his ultimate. If you can get a pick in the aggressive tri-lane, you're going to be right back into an even game. Although, speaking of Centaur, he may actually die here. Nope, Timbersaw missed his woe. It's
getting a little bit low, but with the Timbersaw getting low on mana, wasn't really too under pressure there. And the Shadow Fiend also taking some damage at mid as well. The only reason that they're staying alive right now is their towers are there to defend them, and you know, even Timbersaw wants to try to take advantage of that a little bit.
Yeah, Centaur was a few inches away from being dead. Deneth just barely
There's
missed.
the Centaur ultimate though. They're going right for him, and well, the Centaur looks like he's gonna turn things around here with the help of the Shadow Fiend. One raise, and I guess that's gonna be it.
That's good. That's perfect. That's exactly what they need to do in order to get back into this game. Use your Centaur ultimate, use your Shadow Fiend, start getting those kills, get back into it, begin to snowball. You missed out in the early game, but that's not going to ruin it. You still have that opportunity to be really strong. You just need to take advantage of what you have right now.
So we're hitting around the 10-minute mark right now. Still, these lanes are being pushed in so hard that it's actually slightly denying the Radiant side space to do anything here. Like, they are pushing these lanes in really hard, doing a little bit of damage to the tier 1 towers, but they're not able to sustain it so well. And we saw the price for it as well at bottom, as Timbersaw was just very susceptible to a rotation from the Shadow Fiend and died very quickly at low health.
Absolutely. It's sort of that when you're losing a tower, it's more beneficial to back off, and Timbersaw might actually be in trouble. No?
No, there's nobody rotating there, but there are 4 at top from the Dire side, and the Lifestealer is about to be in a lot of trouble. There's the Telekinesis back. They are looking for the raises, but the Shadow Fiend waited on those. I guess didn't really feel like putting out the damage, and there's going to be the Infest into the small creep. They're actually going to dominate it away. Oh, he actually mind controlled away instead of the Helm of the Dominator. So I know how this game works. He gets out of there.
It was a smart decision. The Coddle Blast would have actually killed the creep. They would have been able to deny it, so he had to do that in order to escape. So smart play from him, quick thinking.
Could you imagine him though inside that Infest? There's some damage at the Timbersaw. Actually, that's more than enough damage with the double damage rune. It's kind of interesting. I didn't really think that he had enough to kill off the Timbersaw, but looks like our Saw Blade friend is actually not that tanky right now, only putting 3 levels into the reactive armor. Like, going back to the Leicester, do you imagine him in that situation and seeing the Coddle Blast being like, no, I want to stay in here, don't kill me, please?
Yeah, I think there was a moment of panic, and then he knew exactly what to do. That moment of clarity when you're playing. And it worked out for him. So he managed just to dodge that gank, 4 people up for the Lifestealer, not getting anything at all. But that's what you have to do. Even though you're missing that gank, if you're on the Dire side, you still need to continue doing that. You can't just let them free farm and let your Slurk sit in the jungle while Lifestealer is happily farming away in lane.
Yeah, so some good reflexes there. Now I have a rotation onto mid with the smoke up from Coddle, and sorry, they're gonna go right in as soon as the Shadow Fiend steps up, and they're gonna get the crush. Storm Spear up to the high ground, looking to charge up the Requiem. That's possibly a little bit early on leveling that up. It's just level 9, so it's fine to take the point there. And well, the Shadow Fiend pretty easy to kill and very susceptible to that early pressure.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I'm still kind of struggling with the vision from the Dire side. They've got these wards up on the aggressive tri-lane, but they're not very effective because you have no idea if the supports are in the woods waiting to back up the Lifestealer, if they're in the lane behind the Lifestealer, if they're stacking or pulling. They're giving you a lot of vision, but they're not giving you effective vision. You need to be able to know immediately if those supports are rotating. And they got a nice easy smoke, and they are going to be able to harass the Slark out of the jungle once again.
Yeah, they do. I think it does scout out most of the rotations into the jungle in the mid lane, where most of the heroes will, remember. But you're right, it doesn't really tell you what they're doing with that tri-lane. But as we move into the early to mid game, mostly into the mid game, you know, these wards actually could be a little bit more effective than they would have been maybe 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, definitely. They're coming into their stride, and it's going to be important the next 2 to 3 minutes what they manage to accomplish.
So we take a look at our early items, and we actually do have a little bit more aggression on the Rubik. We'll get the Telekinesis off onto the Slardar, but they'll be able to get the Crush with the Corrosive Haze onto Rubik. He's actually still running away pretty quickly, but it looks like Slardar is going to be the one to take the counter kill from that one. They get the Slark with the leap and a good stomp as well from the Centaur. So at least they managed to get 1 kill out of it, trading a support for a support, which I believe in that situation actually benefits the dire side a little bit more.
Yeah, it definitely does. Although the Rubik is worth less, it more importantly buys a few waves for the Slark. Slark has really been struggling. You can see he's lower in net worth than the Timbersaw. He's lower than the Centaur Warrunner even. So getting a few waves is going to be super beneficial for him. He needs every single gold he can get.
Yep, he needs all of the gold so he can get some items. Taking a look at our Shadow Fiend, he is getting a little bit closer to his Dragonlance. He's currently about halfway through that item. Power Treads and an Aqua build up for him, and Centaur's already got his Blink Dagger. Maybe he goes right for the Storm Spirit, but the Storm Spirit has Light Spirit inside. He's taking a lot of damage here. The Double Edge is going to be able to finish him up. Looking right for the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend getting a little bit low, but Light Spirit knows that with the Infest ending, or rather the Rage, he really can't go any further onto that one, and Chinese going to manage to stay alive. So good for them. Chinese are pretty cool people, and I guess the Shadow Fiend is happy to be pretty cool as well.
Without a doubt. So that was hugely beneficial. Killing that Storm Spirit, this is the perfect point to do it. He was getting very close to his Bloodstone, but he's not going to get it for another minute or two now. That was the key point for the rotation. So really nice movement from the Centaur in particular. He's been kind of the saving grace for this team so far, I think.
Yeah, he did well in his lane. He gets an early Blink Dagger, and you see him already working towards most of his Blade Mail. He's about 1,200 gold from it, but he's building it up kind of quickly here. Coddle in a little bit of trouble. Here comes Slarky Poo, and Coddle does use the Blinding Light trying to stay alive, but that is just going to lead to an easy blink in from the center to find the kill with the Stomp. So he continues to secure things for his team, and that could also lead to a little bit more of a rotation top from Chinese, and maybe Rubik's going to join the fray as well.
Yeah, I would like to see them turn this into a tower. If you can start getting the tier 1s, maybe you can get the tier 2 if you're feeling really frisky. You are getting into that position to snowball.
Yeah, well, talking about being frisky, I think the dire side are getting a lot of those frisky bites here, pushing in that tier 1 tower. I don't really think they go for the tier 2, especially considering the Luminate can always come in through with the Coddle. He's got that up to level 2 right now, but definitely does do a pretty good amount of damage, fairly substantial. At this point, though, we are even on towers.
Yeah, things are starting to improve a little bit for the Dire. They set up a few kills, some nice counter ganks, and it's starting to look a little better for them. I think the Centaur Warrunner, when he gets his Blade Mail, that's going to be the key. They're going to be able to start pushing. They're going to be able to counter the Keeper of the Light a whole lot better. And I think that's when they start taking team fights.
They could. But we're looking at the power spikes for each team, and one just came with the Centaur Warrunner Blink Dagger. He'll get a little bit more of one with the Blade Mail, and then we've also got the Shadow Fiend's Dragonlance. So they've actually got a couple of items here that help them immensely here. But I'm looking at the next one from the Radiant side, which they're kind of at a lull between items right now. Storm Spirit still working, actually does have his Bloodstone right now. Yeah, and Slaughter is about 1,000 gold away from the Blink Dagger, and that's where I think we're going to see the real big spike from the Radiant side.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do have to worry because those items are picked up on the Dire. They're going to want to start forcing fights, although at the top shrine.
With the smoke, they were going right for the Rubik, and they're actually going to use a charge to get away. Rubik out of mana, and now we just have a Slardar and the Leicester in a lot of trouble. Double Edge is going to kill Slardar there with the Ancients getting into the action a little bit there. Luckily, the Leicester got out, but this is not boding well at all for the Radiant side. Maybe the Blink is going to help them, but we just saw 2 failed ganks with the Infest Bomb, which is a huge cornerstone of this lineup.
Yeah. I think that they should have just said, okay, let's call it, let's leave. You're fighting directly underneath the shrine. You've wasted your Infest and done no damage to the Rubik with it. Trading the Slardar for the Rubik, not worth it in this case.
Yeah, not really too worth it at all. We are still going to have that push coming in top from the Radiant side. They rotate 4 heroes here with the Leicester hanging it up. He's working towards the Echo Saber, trying to push this in quite quickly, but they're going to see the Timbersaw arrive, and Slark's like, no, man, I'm out of here. I don't really want to fight against the Timbersaw right now. He's still trying to get his items up. The early game, again, not very great for him, and most Slarks after that we would see go for a Shadow Blade, but he's decided to go for the Echo Saber first instead.
I think he needs it. He's behind in terms of net worth, and he needs to be able to steal as many stats as he can get. He's finally getting some levels into Essence Shift. I honestly would have liked to see him get a minus instead of that Echo Saber, just so that he can be stronger into the mid game. It's a good item for Slark. The attack speed's not bad, and it's going to give him more farm, which he desperately needs.
How do you feel about the damage versus lifesteal first talent for Slark?
I think it's very situational. I would prefer the damage, honestly.
I feel like most Slarks were, but we have the initiation. Oh, nice Blinding Light to knock the Stomp over to the side for the Centaur. Now we've got a great fight brewing for the Radiant side. A Fog Shield is going to get Rubik away, but now Slark is taken right out by the long-range Ball Lightning in from the Storm Spirit. But here comes Chinese in with their Requiem of Souls. Kills off the Lightsteer, wasn't able to armor toggle out of that one. And now they're going to get the Blink, the Stomp. Huge damage from this double damage Shadow Fiend. And they take a 2-for-1. Even though they do lose a Slark, they can maybe push in this lane a little bit more this time around.
Yeah, beautifully done. The Rubik managed to steal amplified damage, or corrosive haze now, and a nice ult from Chinese to dealt a ton of damage. But as we were discussing before the fight, and our point was kind of proven here, I think that the damage is more beneficial on Slark when you're playing in a game like this, because you get so much regen from your passive as well as your ultimate. So you take advantage of that by going in and out of the fight. Lifesteal is something that you're going to want when you're fighting straight up, and that's not Slark's forte. It's something he's rather terrible at. So I definitely prefer the damage over the lifesteal.
Yeah, he just tried to go into that last fight, and he went man mode, and it turns out that Slark kind of hits like maybe not so strong right now. Storm Spirit also getting a little bit aggressive here, looking for the courier, and well, now Chinese just picks up the early Hurricane Pike. And we saw a lot of this over the open qualifiers with Cancel playing the Shadow Fiend for the Bean Boys. Sing Sing Stack is going for that first item Hurricane Pike on the Shadow Fiend, and I'm excited to see what kind of plays we see from Chinese as a result of this.
It's such a good item on Shadow Fiend. It gives him a ton of stats. It gives you mobility in the fights. And it just lets you blow your raises and get out of the fight as well. So you don't have to worry so much about getting caught. Although I am a little curious to see how it's going to work against the high mobility of the Radiant team.
Oh, Slark in a lot of trouble at mid as well. He's got the Dark Grip, but he doesn't even get... Well, he does use it, but just wasn't able to stay alive with it either. Meanwhile, at top, Borrow Time gets popped on the Abaddon. Ruff starts to take a little bit of damage from the Shadow Fiend, but looks like the Shadow Fiend wants to try to fight pretty hard here using the Requiem of Souls. Also did get the Aphotic Shield from the Abaddon. There's a blink to the backside for the Centaur Warrunner, and there's not a whole lot of damage going out onto him as he uses the Blade Mail, but it doesn't really matter. They'll be able to get the kill on Timbersaw. I believe he's just picked up his Bloodstone, so his Bloodstone that he just got is now down to 8 souls already.
Yeah. Nice play from the supporting cast on the Dire side. Chinese should have been dead to rights there, but the Abaddon and the Centaur are working together to get him out of that sticky situation.
Yeah, so luckily the Shadow Fiend... I mean, I guess they have the right idea. If you can buff up the Shadow Fiend, make sure that he doesn't die in a fight, he's going to be able to win it for you somehow, or at least give the rest of the team time to put some damage in.
Yeah, and he is doing quite a bit of damage. Do you think he goes a defensive item next, or you think he's just going to accept that he has this strong defensive backline and he's going to go for a damage item?
I really think that it's going to be a Shadow Blade for him. Like, he definitely can use it to get in and out of fights. He does need that kind of initiation, so I think it right now either has to be a Yule Scepter or the Shadow Blade, and most Shadow Fiends are picking up that purple item.
Right. It is worth it for the bonus damage as well as the easy initiation on the ultimate.
We've got Storm Spirit picking up the Regen rune, which is one of Storm Spirit's favorite runes to pick up, and he managed to get a couple of kills, up to 14 Bloodstone charges. So he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's doing well with his Bloodstone. Timbersaw, not quite so much. And it looks like he just barely managed to rotate out of there before people showed up. But the pace of the game has slowed down a lot. And I'm not sure who I think this benefits. I think it's a little bit more beneficial for the Radiant. It's going to give them time to finally get that Blink Dagger up on the Slardar. He's about 500 gold away. And that's going to be a big, big item for them. Because there are so many fights where if they had the lockdown and the initiation on the Slardar, they would be getting enormous picks. But they're just not. They don't have the mobility against a Centaur, a Slark, a Rubik. that they need.
Yeah, I think that both teams benefit from this time to farm. Although the Dara side, whenever you have a Slark on your team, you have that possibility of scaling just a bit better. I think the Leicester might have a little bit of difficulty fighting against him when it comes into the late game, and this does allow Slark to get his farm up, going for a Shadow Blade. I'm not sure. No, Shadow Fiend's actually going to be picking up a BKB instead here, and he might be in a little bit of trouble at mid, but like you said, it's going to give Slarder the time to farm up a Blink Dagger, which he's nearly at right now. When you fight so much, you always have that possibility of losing gold off of the fight because you die, and that's just something that really doesn't allow the Slarder to shine in this match. So they do give him the time to get up to the Blink Dagger, but the thing is, like I was saying before, like that's going to have to make them be able to get the Infest ganks off, because they just haven't been able to do that this entire game, and that's with the Storm Spirit on their side as well.
Right. And on top lane,
Timbersaw in a little bit of trouble, will be thrown back with the telekinesis. He's going to get a Timber Chain out, the Chakram going through, but they use the Centaur Warrunner ult to try to chase him down. There's some damage as they run over him. He just still gets the Timber Chain through, but they're just going to be able to kill him dead to rights there. And they can push in through top if they want. Luckily for the Radiant side, that tier 1 is already down, but could be a tier 2 tower in the balance if they're not careful.
yeah, there's a good possibility that they are going to trade for this tier 1. They do have the Keeper of the Light behind the tower, so he's going to be able to counter push, deep push very hard. They might be able to save both. Oh, when they trigger borrow time.
There.
Uh-oh.
Jeez, man. Obviously, that wasn't the plan for the Dire side, and Kado's doing a lot of work to defend this, taking care of the creep waves very quickly, and even though that tower is very low, they're actually going to force the Dire side off of it.
Wow. I feel as though that was maybe a little less aggressive than it should have been. I do like this smoke play, though. The fake back into the smoke play. They can go into the Roche pit. They can go for a gank in the mid lane as long as they're not trying to get Slardar.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, we'll have
Could
to
be a
see.
little too greedy.
Infest into the Slardar, but they're not actually finding anyone with the smoke yet, and it's going to expire kind of soon. It's going to get popped here with the Storm Spirit. Oh, trying to get away, but he's going to be hit with the telekinesis and the stop. Double Edge finishes off the kill. Looks like Mr. Smiley Face is going to be smiling a little bit more here.
Yeah, that's literally the best kill you could have hoped for. That ward there gave them the vision of the Storm Spirit. So they knew he was in that area, and they're going to get a few more of those Bloodstone charges off and give him the opportunity to push. They
And
could
that's
definitely get this
really bad timing for this. Sorry, like now they have to wait for the Storm Spirit to get back up, and there's a beautiful blink stomp onto 2 for the Centaur. Timbersaw also very low. They do get the Slardar ravaged in the middle of the fight with the Leicester getting in the fight as well. Rupik is still staying alive though, and now it's going to be a man fight. Centaur versus the Leicester. They get the stomp off and the Requiem, but it looks like the Leicester already had the rage off in the middle of that one. Oh, there is no more borrow time on the Abaddon, and they still try to take the Leicester down. Eventually do, but it's going to be a triple kill for Macro Sky, as there was a whole lot of death there and a whole lot of dying. Eventually, the well, both teams very even, but the Dire side still did come out on top. And now Slark in a lot of trouble. He's just going to Shadow Blade away, though. There's not a whole lot that the Storm Spirit can do about that.
Yeah, good thing he's got that Shadow Blade. He would have been in a lot of trouble otherwise. But that was a great save from the Storm Spirit. He saved that fight. It was very close to being a complete disaster for the Radiant, but he comes back, he gets 3 kills out of it, and he got all his Bloodstone charges back, well, more or less, and doesn't quite manage to save the tower, but makes a fight that should have been much, much worse even.
So, taking a look at the Radiant side, and this is very much a match where the mids are getting a lot of work done. Storm Spirit coming into that last fight has taken up a couple kills. Shadow Fiend, who's been farming pretty well. Maybe a bit of a misplay in the last one. Just kind of standing and trying to do damage when he really needed to not be in the middle of things. But he's doing quite well for his team here. So both teams have their star players. The question is, which one's going to be able to be a bigger star?
I think that Chinese would have been fine in that last fight if he had his BKB for the fight. He does have it now. He's got some pretty solid defensive items that he can also use fairly aggressively. So if he uses his BKB correctly, if he uses it at the right time and takes the fight properly, Chinese is still very, very scary. I think he's still even a little bit stronger than the Storm Spirit. But the Storm Spirit, if he gets picked at the right time and doesn't get picked like
yeah,
this,
he's getting picked once again. But actually, the stacking of the stuns was a little bit not so great from the Dire side, and they're not quite able to find the Storm Spirit. He gets the Ball Lightning away.
Yeah, that is when the Centaur yells at the Rubik and says, just put him straight back down on the ground. Don't throw him anywhere. Because he had the stop timed correctly. He was just out of the radius and missed that stun.
Now, looks like the Slark wants to get some things done. The leap is going to miss from the Slark, and looks like the Slaughter is not going to be aggressive there. I know a lot of Slaughters who would just go in and go right for the crush onto a couple heroes there.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that would have been a bad decision, although they don't have any vision up there, so it could have been terrible. They're still a little advantageous in the team fights if they take them correctly.
Still looking for these initiations, and it's all about the vision in this type of game. We've got the Storm Spirit moving through his own jungle, but he really doesn't know a whole lot of what's going on here. He might run into a whole lot of trouble soon, but we might have just caught a glimpse there as he... No, he's still farming inside the jungle. He doesn't know about it at all. Here's the telekinesis back. They're going to stomp right for it as well, but they need a little bit more damage. They're going to get the one raise, looking for two. Storm Spirit double up balling away. He's going to be fine, and now Slayer is going to keep them out. Oh, Chinese still trying to chase it down. They're all running quickly with the Centaur ultimate. Chinese looking to go forward, but he's taking most of his mana as damage out of here, and he's going to use the BKB as he tries to get away. Also getting blocked out by the Rubik as well, as he still has the haste rune up. And I guess having the Slark farming up bottom in that case was not really too helpful for the Dire side at all.
You know, I don't mind it, though. The Slark, he's caught up in net worth, and he's going to be scaling pretty well into the late game. So if they just keep split pushing with the Slark and forcing the Radiant to play defensively, Slark will be able to snowball. It'll take him a while, yeah, but he's going to be able to do it. He's getting much stronger already.
He's not afraid of the Timbersaw here at all, so that, as you said, is just speaking to the fact that he's getting into this match a little bit more. The next item for him is going to be a BKB, I guess, which is a little bit strange. You don't always see Slarks going for BKBs, but it's pretty necessary in this game. Yeah,
this is a very good BKB game. Any other game, I would super disagree with the Shadow Fiend and the Slark both getting BKBs because you have your Abaddon. But you really, really want to have that against a Storm Spirit and a Keeper of the Light and a Timbersaw and a Slardar. Otherwise, they're just going to get locked down and bursted down immediately. So it is an item that they have to build, whether or not you really want to. You don't in this case, but there's no choice.
We do have a huge amount of levels on the Storm Spirit. He's up to level 21 right now, which is just 2 ahead of the Shadow Fiend and Centaur. And that'll lead him to have the extra attack speed for the town. Interestingly enough, I did say at the beginning during the draft that these teams are not too bad at doing Roshan, but nobody's actually killed it at this point.
Yeah, I think that really speaks to how evenly this game has been going, more so than that not being part of their game plan. Neither team has been in a position where they felt safe doing Roshan, and that still continues. Maybe with the smoke pick, they'll be more willing to take something like that.
Yeah, they do have the smoke up now, showing a couple of heroes at mid. Centaur's just hanging out there in the middle of the trees. Here comes the Requiem of Souls, popped by Chinese. They're going to go right for the Lifestealer, and there's going to be a blink in the crush on the backside. Now Shadow Fiend in a lot of trouble. Will be hit by the Electric Vortex. He's going to form right back in. He's going to be the first one to fall. Now Centaur's just looking at the fight and seeing if there's anything he can do. He gets all the mana taken away from him by the Coddle's mana leak. It's just really annoying to try to deal with here. Another Slaughter crush on the backside, but Slark starts to go ham on the other side of the fight. Now he's going to be surrounded by 4 heroes out, not really getting a whole lot of help at all. He does get the Shadow Blade off to try to get away. Now Centaur is in a lot of trouble. Blade Mail is going to be there as the Illuminate comes through, and a beautiful double crush on the backside by Switch. They're going to be able to clean this up, looking for the full 5-man team wipe, and Slark comes on the backside. He wants to do some damage. Remember, the Storm Spirit is very low. He'll just deny himself. Now the Blinding Light comes through, and Slark is looking for anybody he can try to kill right now. He's going to go up the hill with the Dark Pack, but is not going to find anybody. It's just going to be a 4 for 2 right now, but just not a good fight at all for the Dire side. Really,
really nicely played. Excellent counter initiation from the Slark, or from the Slardar. Catches both and just sets him up for a perfect team fight. And it was so sloppy, you could see Rhode Island. They were panicking through the whole fight. They were spread out all over the place. And that sort of thing is beneficial to UCONN. They want to be taking these weird fights like this, with Slardar just kind of popping in and out, with the Storm Spirit popping in and out as well, and the same with the Timbersaw. Any sort of disorganized fight like that where you're not actually focusing someone, they're going to leave, they're going to Bloodstone regen, they're going to come back in. And really paid off for him. Really, really well done fight. And the denial on the Storm Spirit is really the icing on the cake.
Yeah, he was just so low there, and then he was like, oh wait, I have this thing called a bloodstone, and I can deny myself now, so it's great. I don't have to worry about dying to other people and losing my kill streak. So this Slark surviving through all that is a little bit worrying to me if I'm rooting for the Radiant side. They really do not want the Slark to snowball in this match at all, and just the fact that he managed to stay alive throughout the fight, regardless if he was doing actual damage or not, it's just a little bit worrying that he was unable to be killed the entire time. So I think that the game plan for UCONN sometime in this game has to be make sure that the Slark isn't able to do that guerrilla warfare thing, and make sure that there's always vision of him during the fight.
Right. I don't know that I would be terribly concerned about the Slark if I were UCONN. He only managed to survive from a really, really clutch Bloomer Cave from the Rubik that gave him the regen to continue fighting through that. And, oh, I like this Roshan. This is really smart timing. We're losing the tower. Might as well sneak in there with a smoke and see what we can get. Although it might not pay off for them.
It's going really slowly, and Sparta can go right in with the 3-man crush, in with the Chakram as well. They use the Centaur ultimate to try to get through. The Star is probably going to fall here, but he stopped this Roshan. Now Macro Sky in the middle of the Roshan pit will use the bog to get out. Sparta is going to buy back and TP's right over to the shrine. They're going for the Slark. Meanwhile, BKB on the backside by Chinese, using the Requiem of Souls. Switching a lot of trouble. There's going to be the Centaur Stomp, and that will be a dieback. He's down for 63 seconds now. Can UCONN do anything on the backside? Because they absolutely have to right now. Lightstar picked up into the air. Will be hit with the telekinesis, and now here comes the Slark with the leash on the backside, looking right for the Timbersaw. The shrine will get popped, and Slark just kind of sits there for a couple of seconds. Now he starts to go back into the fight with the Shadow Dance. Chinese, he is trying to stay alive a little bit here, takes some damage. He's going to force staff himself away. This is just a ridiculous fight. These guys are staying alive for so long. There's been a couple of buybacks here. Slark just trying to walk right through the Radiant side, and I guess without any detection, he's going to be okay. Man, that fight, jeez.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. And it went really well for the Dire, considering it was underneath a shrine. They probably could have killed more if they'd taken the fight in a little bit better of a spot, but good presence of mind from UCONN to move back to that position. And you see what happens when they actually focus. They focus something and they get these kills, and they set up the fights that they need.
And with that, Slark's actually gone right back into the Roshan pit. Chakram's going to be there, again harassing him out, and he has the Shadow Dance up right now. Stomp onto the Timbersaw. They need a little bit more damage, but Shadow Fiend's gone into the Roshan pit instead of trying to kill anybody else. Centaur Warren's just going to sit there. They are actually going to get the Aegis, and the fight, I guess, could ensue once again. Weezy's going to pick up the Aegis. He's going to go forward with the Shadow Blade. Chinese just sitting there. They are going to find the Cuddle on the backside. Cuddle in a lot of trouble. The Dark Pact is going to be able to get him down. You'll Scepter onto the center before he can get a stomp up, but he gets it on the 3. They're all going to be stunned up there. Weezy's getting a lot of damage, but it's just going to be the Aegis going down. Requiem, it's not going to be available just yet for Chinese. Does come off of cooldown right now, and they're continuing to go forward. Blink for it by the Shadow Fiend. He wants some more death to show up on the map here. Timbersaw tries to get a Timber Chain through, but he's going to be hit by the Crush, stolen by Rubik as well, and they're going to be able to push that through, take 4 people down, and go right for this tier 2 tower.
Well done. Very well done. Everyone in the right position. I don't think Slark really needed to use the Aegis there, but hey, it worked out just fine. They really tunnel visioned on him and lost a lot on it. That's the 3rd death on the Slardar in 2 minutes here. That's really, really bad.
He's really not having a great time at all. And while the creep wave is completely gone at mid and the blinding light used, and not hitting onto the Shadow Fiend, though, they're actually going to be able to hit through it and take that tier 3 tower. And we see really the strength here of the Dire squad. They've got a couple of big frontliners in the Centaur Warrunner and the Abaddon to keep the Shadow Fiend and Slark alive. And also Slark is just a little bit too survivable on his own as well, so they'll be able to take off the melee racks and back up as all the respawns start to come through from the Radiant side.
Yeah, that's a huge swing. They get the Roche, they get a huge team fight, and they get a melee racks.
Really maybe, much, but yeah, that is actually a huge swing in the net worth if we look at it. 6,000 gold in favor of URI, and the XP is even more than that. Look at that just ridiculously huge roller coaster ride that we've been on, and suddenly that drop comes at the end.
Right. It's been a very, very close game, but that might be exactly what URI needs to take this game. I wonder what they're going to do. Do you think they're going to continue to aggress? Now that they've taken this fight, they did not manage to kill the Storm Spirit. He's been a little too elusive even for that. Although Chinese, he's looking for a pickup here. I think he's waiting to get an ult-off.
There with the Invis rune, he has a little bit more time as well. But eventually the Timbersaw is going to show up. Does Chinese actually want to go for it with the Invis rune expiring. He's still going to sit here, so it's not going to be an Invis gank, but the rest of his team could start to show up as well, and we start to see them, you know, putting a little bit more priority or over towards that lane, blinking with the Shadow Fiend, and they're just going to force Timbersaw away, not really trying to gank him at all.
Right. And they're slowing him back down. They know they have an advantage. Let's just take the shrine. Let's get an item or two and then go. They do have the Guardian Greaves on the Abaddon. That might be kind of the key, and the Blink Dagger on the Rubik is also a big item. If they can get a pick, if they can get the Keeper of the Light before he does what he wants to do, which is push the wave back repeatedly, then they're in a very good position. Unless they just stand here. They have to be a little more proactive with this kind of push, because there's so much deep push.
Oh, here they go. They're going to blink for it, going right for the Timbersaw. The Blinding Light is going to push him back, but it's only hit on the one here. Wrecking missiles to the backside as well. Kato has to get away from it. The Timbersaw actually isn't quite dead yet, is going to die there. Now Chinese in a lot of trouble. He's in the middle of the fight, and he's about to fall, trying to get healed up a little bit by the Guardian Greaves, but he is going to eventually die as that Death Requiem comes out. Now Abaddon with the borrowed time. They need a little bit more here. They need some more power. Wheezy still trying to get these guys down, but they are going to lose their Rubik with the leash coming through. Wheezy trying to get some damage done, is eventually going to find a couple more, but you know, that's a terrible fight for URI as they try to back up, but it's just not really going too well for them at all. And that last one to fall is going to be the Centaur. He tries to get that last double edge, but it's just not to be there at all. And it's going to be a full 5-man team up for UCONN.
Well, that was proactive, but I don't think it was the right kind of proactive. They just kind of dove right in. They didn't have any vision on the high ground, didn't know where anyone was, and they really set themselves up for disaster. They were all grouped up, and easy stuns, easy Timbersaw ults, easy Coddle Blasts. They need to be positioning a little bit better when you're taking high ground fights so aggressively like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult sometimes when you're trying to go for a base because you want to try to go for the backlines, but that backlines puts you underneath the shrine, puts you underneath the tier 4 tower sometimes even. So it's really not the kind of play that is conducive to being able to take fights there. So would really like to look for maybe taking a pick off before going for a fight like that.
Right. They need to be either taking more control of the map, or they need to be taking fights that they know they can win. Just kind of jumping at people, well, it's a pretty fun way to play Dota. It's not a very conducive to winning, I would say.
Now it looks like Switch wants to get some stuff done with this Infest Bomb. He actually used the sprint instead of keeping the Invis rune, which is a little bit strange, but I guess he really needed to go find somebody fast.
Yeah, they're losing out on XP for the Lifestealer. Oh my.
Actually, an Infest stolen by
Infest
Rubik.
on the Rubik.
That's a new one.
I think that's a
Scepter.
great...
Oh, he's got Aghanim Scepter, so they can just move around with 3 people now, I guess.
Oh my. They need to put Chinese inside of the Centaur, and then Centaur Stomp, and then Chinese can ult. That would be pretty spectacular.
I don't know. They might end up having the same problem as the last fight, but it would certainly be very interesting. Now with the extra skill on the Rubik here, I think you would have to get out in order to use it. So he should be able to have the Infest up for a little bit longer, but this is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with this, if anything. If they're just going to be gimmicky or kind of make the best of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it would be the best idea to continue to have the Rubik in there. Like, I don't really know what he's doing inside the Shadow Fiend at this point. I guess they're putting a whole new definition into carry me.
Yeah, without a doubt. So what do you think of the Shadow Fiend Blink Dagger? I'm not sure that I agree with this. I feel as though he needs more damage. He should have gone for the Scotty before the Blink. You have repositioning tools in the Centaur, and you have people holding things in place. You've got the Rubik holding things in place. You've got the Frostborn from the Abaddon. And I really don't like that he has 3 mobility items or 3 defensive items.
I don't know. The main problem for me is that he hasn't really been able to take advantage of the mobility items. Like, I'm okay with him having the Blink Dagger, but he's just... Oh, what? Why?
Whoops. I think he meant to blink.
Yeah, maybe. He's going to walk in anyway, even though the BKB is down. Just look at the amount of damage that they're doing here. But they've got their priorities set a little bit straighter this time, going right for the tier 3 tower. They don't have an Aegis either. They'll get the blink on the backside, and they're going to get the Infest Bomb onto the Shadow Fiend. But actually, Rubik's going to get out there as well, stealing the remnants away from the Storm Spirit. And the Shadow Fiend's just got not really a whole lot of control in order to save himself here. So we've got the Dire again going into the Radiant base and going a bit too far. BKB popped way late for the Slark. He's going to use it as he dies there. And now the Rubik, also in a lot of trouble, is going to fall. Centaur nearly dead as well. That's going to be another terrible fight inside the Radiant base for URI. I'm not really sure what they were thinking about there.
You just accidentally BKB'd on your
right.
key hero. You know that they have an Orchid, they have silences, they have so many stuns, so much magic damage. Why would you push high ground against that? Now, if somebody had been picked off, if it was a 4v5, I could understand that. But in a 5v5, when you just lost a high ground fight and you don't have your BKB, what's the thought process there? You don't do that.
Don't do that. And it was daytime as well, so the Coddle has had the ability to heal them up through the entire thing as well. And while URI, they were very survivable in fights outside the base, they're giving every single kind of advantage over to the side of UCONN. And that's got to stop. Like, they have to realize that giving them the advantage in the fight doesn't really behoove the Dire side at all. So now we've got to push into the Dire side base from the Radiant, and most of these heroes still haven't respawned yet. Not willing to use the buybacks either, with them being on such low cooldown right now. And no, the respawns are going to come through eventually. With just a tier 3 tower going down, I guess UConn think that they got enough out of that push.
Yeah, they're happy. They forced to fortify. They can go get this tier 2 mid now for free. They're going to go check Roshan as well, most likely. I would like to comment on the Coddle. He did pick up a gem. I really like that pickup for him. It's super beneficial against the Slark. It's super beneficial against the Vision game, which, as we know, as we've been discussing this entire game, Vision is super important right now. You need to know where the other team is. Centaur burning his ult on Lifestealer illusions.
Dude, illusions suck, man. They gotta kill those.
There were 2 of them, so we knew they were illusions. I don't know.
Well, they got 54 gold off of it, so I guess that's worth it. Checking the net worth graph right now, we see that, yeah, that little peak of the 54 gold. It's that little pixel right there.
It's a moral victory. I think that's what really matters. Okay, Rubik is actually moving in to check the Roche. He knows that it's up. No movement so far from UConn to take a look at this. Oh. Yep, never mind. As I say that, Nephilim is going to Coddle Blast in there. He's going to hit the Roche, so he knows it's there as well. I think after winning two team fights in a row, UConn, they just need to set up in the pit, put your Slardar in there, put your Lifestealer in there. They can do it solo and just set up the counter-initiate around the pit with the Timber, the Coddle, and the Storm Spirit. They have this huge advantage in the pit right now.
Yeah, they do have the huge advantage, but we do have a couple of Scotties coming from the Dire side. So the item progression continues. Now we do have Slark and Shadow Fiend just wailing away inside the pit. And looking for that Infest Bomb to come through from, I guess, no, Lifestealer isn't really, he's just sitting outside of a hero right now, which is a little bit strange. Slardar is eventually going to come in. Blinding Light was stolen by Rubik, and I guess the Dire side don't really want to be into the Roshan pit too much longer at all. But the initiation can still come in on the mid lane. Lifestealer getting close, but nobody really wants to initiate.
Yeah, I think they need to put the Lifestealer in the pit with one more person. That way you can use him as the tank, and when he takes all the damage, he can just infest inside someone. He can armlet toggle, get that Abyssal Blade off, and get his health back from the open wounds. But both teams playing very defensively. I think UConn, they knew they were behind earlier, and they don't want to throw away their hard-won advantage right now. And Dire, they've lost 2 fights in a row, so let's staunch the bleeding a little bit and just get back into it.
Both teams, though, they're still going to hang out around the pit a little bit. The smoke is going to come in from the Dire side. They might actually decide to just go right back in with Radiant moving off of it. Bottom lane's pushing in pretty hard. Got the equivalent of basically 3 waves pushing in. So actually with the space that creates, the Dire are going to go right for Roshan once again. They're taking it down at a pretty good pace. Can the Radiant side actually show up? They're not going to be showing up with the full contingent though. Kato just able to go in with the blast, and Timbersaw going to be left there. He's going to throw in the chakram out onto this fight, doing some pretty substantial damage, but they don't really seem to care about it all. The Blinding Light is going to push him outside of the pit, looking to get the steal on the Roshan, but the Dire are going to be able to take it, and they pick up the Aegis with Wheezy. They're going right for the Timbersaw, but he's going to be stunned by the Sark and immediately taken out here. Didn't get enough time to get any kind of reactive armor stacks, and I don't really know why UCONN decided to back away from that one, but they're going to pay the prices. Now URI, they have an advantage going for this mid lane.
Yeah, this is about the best thing they could have hoped for, apart from getting the Storm Spirit in that fight. I don't really understand why the Radiant backed away from the Roche pit. You're ahead right now. You can put your Storm off farming somewhere and just call them back with the Keeper of the Light, but they rotate 2 or 3 people out, and they're not able to defend the pit even when they do find out that that's happening. So they lose a tier 3, and they may actually lose a Rax for that as well.
Yeah, with the mid lane pushing in, they need to actually take the fight right now. So they'll start to use some Mana Leak. Easy going around the base. Chinese actually going for these Rex as things start to calm down a little bit inside the base. They do see the Sark, but he's got the ball lane to the backside. Leicester just going ham on the Shadow Fiend. He's going to Hurricane Pike away. Sark in some trouble, but that's just the Aegis. We have a triple stun from the Centaur with the double edge there as well, but he's done hardly any damage. Blink in for the Requiem of Souls in from the Shadow Fiend. They'll go right for the Storm Spirit, nearly killing him off here. Just need a little bit more damage, but it's the Leicester going to be able to do enough. They're just trying to get the man fight right now. Lots of Dire members are low from that ball lightning as Shadow Fiend is just wailing away on the Leicester, looking for the ball lightning to the backside again from Macro Sky. He's got to get back eventually though. Lots of Dire side members are low. Timbersaw ready to do some work. They're looking for a team wipe. They're going to get a couple of heroes down very, very low. Rubik at least deals with the Whirling Death, but it's just going to be the Centaur and the Rubik trying to win this one. Eventually the Shadow Fiend dies over to the side. Ball lightning again doing so much damage. They took another melee Rax, but they did not win the fight by any means. Another full 5-man team wipe for UCONN.
There were a few buybacks, so yeah, maybe worth it. 1 buyback from the Keeper of the Light, but at the same time, you're gonna get pushed in if you're URI. They stayed a little bit too long. They dove a little bit too deep, and they paid the price for it. I think if they just stay and focus on the Rex, they would have been just fine. But as it stands, they lose 5. They all do have buyback, so UCONN gonna look to force a buyback or 2 here.
Yeah, they want to try to push this forward, and well, the closest significant ones for URI are in about 40 seconds, and looks like Rubik's going to be able to steal the shotgun away from the Timbersaw. They start to use a couple more buybacks. These tier 3 towers are getting pushed in, and they can keep
Chakram a good
here.
thing to steal when you're solo defending as a Rubik. You can push the wave out a lot better with Fade Bolt.
Yeah, they do manage to steal the Illuminate actually, and remember that the Rubik still has the Aghanim Scepter, so they can actually both be healed here. Abaddon was already at full health when the healing came in from the Rubik. Now he's going to Yule Scepter himself off here, and he's going to be put up into the air. Leicester trying to do some work onto the Rax once again, but now Shadow Fiend gets back to the fight. This is not really the same kind of fight that UCONN are used to trying to take, and they realize this and very cautiously and safely back up.
Right, and their bottom lane is pushing in right now, so they have to teleport someone back to defend that range Rex. So things went probably not spectacular for URI, but they do manage to get out without losing anything but a tier 3 tower. They're going to be fairly happy. They did actually lose a tier 2 mid as well to the Storm Spirit. But despite that, you didn't lose any Rex. You're 2 Rex ahead. You got team wiped, but you're still okay. And they're going to look to take one more of those fights where they get a melee Rex.
Yeah, that's obviously the goal for them. Just try to get another melee Rex so that when that time comes for UCONN to push out of the base, we already saw how close the bottom lane got to taking the ranged Rex. Like, it's very easy when you have the melees just pushing in very hard. You get more melees than ranged. And obviously those Rex are a little bit more effective at pushing these lanes in, and they're more valuable. They might also try to take advantage of the Rubik having the spell steal on the Illuminate. They're not going to have so many minutes to be able to take advantage of it since daytime is up in 4 minutes, but they could actually get some more heals here as they push in for the base with that.
Right. And here we go. Here comes the attrition, the grind onto that top. and I feel like they should all be together. They're kind of taking advantage of the jungle at this point in time. But do you think it's ill-advised for URI to go back onto the high ground? It is nighttime. They have another 3 minutes until day. Is now the time to go? Do you wait until Roshan comes back up in a few minutes? Or what? What do you think they need to do?
I don't think they necessarily need to wait for daytime, because remember, the Rubik is the one that stole the spell. So like Coddle is going to have that the entire game. So they kind of balance off in that case. And the Rubik probably just wants to steal another spell anyway, so I don't think they should just wait for daytime so they can get the healing from the Illuminate. But actually, check this out. We're going to have a smoke into the Radiant side jungle with Slark taking the Shrine out, but he's not got a Lincoln Spear. He's actually going to fall right away, as he was trying to kill the Shrine all by his lonesome there. And it could have been a good opportunity for a bait from the Dire side, but it looks like they were not all on the same page, and we'll just give up the Slark there.
You know, it was a bait, just no one was biting. Or no one was on the other end of the pole.
Yeah, there was nobody on the other end of the pole. They just threw out the bait, and they left it out in the ocean. There was nobody to reel it back in.
Just throw the fishing pole off the side of the boat and you're good to go. Yeah, it didn't really pay off. That's another 100 seconds they're going to be sitting back and doing nothing now. They should have figured out what they wanted to do. It seemed like, well, I'm just going to go into this jungle with no vision and attack a shrine by myself. Doesn't seem advisable to me, and it's just not a good game plan, and they pay the price for it.
Yeah, they pay a pretty heavy price, but they actually look for the Coddle, and they should easily be able to get him out here. Looking for a little bit more, though. There is a wraparound from the Radiant side. Does sort of actually decide to go, and he could get a crush on the few. Gonna use the BKB, but he's only going right for the Centaur. Meanwhile, Abaddon has been found on the other side of the fight. The Leicester going into him. Looks like the Shadow Fiend really doesn't want to go in on this at all, because the Storm Spirit's actually pushing into the base. So the Centaur will try to get away. He's very tanky. It's not actually going to be that difficult to get down, though, and he will be stunned by a very lucky bash from the Leicester. And taking the Centaur out of the fight. He's down for 100 seconds. Now he also has Storm Spirit going ham onto the Shadow Fiend, and Abaddon couldn't do anything about it, apparently. I guess it's difficult to target an aphotic shield onto a pig.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend a little bit late on his BKB there. Pays the price for it, gets hexed. Gets, well, not an Orchid, but he does have the, what is it, Bloodthorn.
Yeah, he's got the Bloodthorn. This is going to force out a buyback from the Shadow Fiend, and I'm not really sure how much the Radiant are going to be able to take advantage of it all. Like, they already got the buyback out. They can just back up, but they really don't want to take any extra deaths here, as the Ice Stealer rages away from the leash, but he's actually moving around really slowly right now. He can hardly get around. And he's in a lot of trouble. The Storm Spirit actually getting into the fight, looking for the Uber out. He's going to be able to blow it anyway, and he continues to back up. The Slardar might not be so lucky. Chinese will be chasing him down, so luckily for the Lifestealer, the Uber was able to arrive, and they're trying to get the Slardar, but they couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, that poor Rubik, he was over there using literally everything he could, but Slardar having the good sense not to give him the crush. The Salad Man slam, and that was his saving grace. He would have been dead twice over if he hadn't.
Now he's also got the Timbersaw trying to stay safe at top. He gets the Timber Chain away with the TP. So pretty easy for him to get out of that, as he still continue to get a couple of D-wards here by the Abaddon with the gem on himself. And we can, again, look at the net worth graph. Very back and forth between the two teams. And surprisingly, we're actually at the 56-minute mark, getting very close to the hour, which I don't even think I've been feeling it this game. These guys have been creating a lot of action-packed fights for a lot of it.
Yeah, it's been very aggressive, very back and forth the entire game. I honestly don't know who has an advantage at this point. It's hard to say. I'm leaning a little bit towards the Radiant. The Storm Spirit has been pretty much unkillable for the last 30 minutes. But despite that, it could go either way depending on which team gets an initiation.
Yeah, I'm sort of looking at these fights, and I'm thinking that UCONN, they're creating a lot of different fronts of control. So while the Centaur and Abaddon might try to keep their teammates alive, it's a little bit more for them to focus on. Look at this. We have a smoke coming in from the Radiant side, looking for Roshan, and they're actually going to go right for it. So they should be able to take this one, unless the Dire get into the pit. And I think they just pinged it. Are they actually going to go over, though, in time? Centaur could get a great stomp. He's got 4 heroes right there for him, but is he actually going to get there in time? Answer is no, as the Roshan gets taken by UCONN. They're looking for a little bit more here. That's not the full contingent here. Rather, the Blinding Light is going to push the Centaur away from the Coddle, but he's going to be easily killed off here. Silenced, and that just goes to show what happens when you have an entire team hitting onto a Bloodthorn target.
That was a panic blink from the Centauri. He kind of fed himself with that one. He saw the Coddle in the back, and he said, I know I can kill that guy. And he blinked so that he's on one side. There's an entire team between him and the rest of his team who isn't even quite there yet.
Yeah, they weren't really even going towards the pit at all.
No, they weren't. That was a panic. He was freaking out. He said, oh, God, maybe I can blink and stun and kill somebody. But ends up feeding his life away. He has no buyback for this next fight. That is not good at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. We are going to have another blink forward by the Slardar looking for this fight. They're going to get the Hex on the Abaddon, popping the Shrine there, and Chinese continues to try to stay alive a little bit more. Are they actually going to go deeper for it as he uses the BKB? Switch was getting deep, gets the crush again on the 2. The rest of the team needs to show up for this one. Meanwhile, Sark is trying to get something done on the backside as Kyle's just going to evade him so much. Blinding Light is making it so easy for the Kyle to survive. They'll take one full set of racks, and we get the Rubik in with the Stolen Crush on the 3. He's going to try to delay this as much as possible for the Centaur to arrive, but oh no, here they go on the backside once again as Sark gets underneath the Sentry Ward, looking for the Requiem. Lots of damage on the Coddle. They'll just throw one more hit onto him in order to kill him, but that's just the Coddle that they take it down, and the Storm Spirit starts to go to work, looking for the kill onto the Rubik. He's getting taken very low, and they're going to turn Shadow Fiend into a pig. He pops, gets the Shrine pop. They're going to continue to look for this one. He's been Bloodthorn as Leicester continues to look for that kill, but he's going underneath the tier 4 towers. Chakram coming through, getting the Rubik down. They are going to kill him with the next activation on it, and now they go right for the bottom lane. There are only racks up at this point. Rubik will buy it back, but Slark doesn't have it. He's dead for another 80 seconds. They have to find some way to get into this fight. Here comes the Centaur charge, but the Samus is only getting hit onto the Leicester, which is a very important target. Take him very low here. He's in a lot of trouble. That's just gonna be the Aegis, so as Storm Spirit just tries to take care of his mana right now. Leicester will be very low when he gets right back up, and he's going to be hit by the, well, he gets the Rage off, but there's still a Corrosive Haze trying to go for the Infest. They are eventually going to get it. Now with another nice crush by the Slider on the 2. Oh, Storm Spirit, though, he's all out of mana, in a lot of trouble. He's just going to use a Bloodstone Deny. Back in 11 seconds now. They could actually reinitiate this in a couple seconds if they can get these guys low enough. Abaddon taken very low. That's going to be the borrow time. Cuddle in some trouble. He's still healing up thanks to his Illuminate there, and he'll use the Blinding Light away, but no, the Blinding Light is not going to be enough to save him. Now we also have another crush onto the Timbersaw. Storm Spirit actually getting into this fight. He's trying to clear out bottom for now. And remember that Timbersaw still has the Leicester inside. He's got to help here eventually. He's going to pop out and say, surprise, guys! But now the Hurricane Pike is going to push him all the way over to the low ground. They go right for the Timbersaw. They're trying to get that kill. The Blink Over is not going to take the Shadow Fiend far enough, but they're looking for the Rubik still. Oh, Double Shockman is going to eventually kill off that Rubik, and the Timbershade continues to take the Timbersaw away. Chinese will chase him down. Shiva's Guard is going to be there. So Shadow Fiend trying to chase him, but actually the Yule Scepter is going to be used by the Timbersaw, and I guess Chinese is going to say, oh, this is a very nice creep wave for me to try to kill.
Wow.
What a fight.
What a fight. I was about to say the exact same thing. I'm not even sure who came out on top there. I feel like it was definitely an advantage for the Radiant because I got the Rex. But apart from that, it was really hard to call.
Well, Storm Spirit started going for the Rex once again with the creeps inside the base. So taking down the melee Rex, really important here. He's got to be careful with how aggressive he gets, especially since his Bloodstone Prayers have started to decrease a little bit here. He's down to 19.
Right. He did manage to self-deny during that fight, though, so once again, not dying. He's worth a lot of gold right now. I bet someone on the Dire side is really hoping to get that bounty.
I feel like a lot of people are. 37,000 net worth on him, and that continues to increase. Taking a look at his items, they're extremely expensive. Maybe he could even switch out the boots for something else in the future. Also might be looking to pick up some boots to travel, but he's got 5,000 gold at the bank. Someone might tell him that the rates of increase are not looking too great right now. You might want to try to invest in some physical property, liquefy that. But
I would almost like to see him pick up just another straight mana item, get rid of his boots. He's mostly moving with Ball Lightning anyway. Kind of a weird thing to do, but I feel like it would be beneficial in this specific case. And both teams smoked up, moving in the wrong directions. They're going to miss each other.
Yeah, but I think the Radiants are going to get a lot more out of this smoke. They can go right for the base, and I think they might realize that nobody's inside here once that creep wave arrives, and they're going to go right for the racks. Mid lane's gotten pushed in. They're like, is anybody actually going to stop this? There's nobody there, guys. You can go right for the Rex, and they're going to pop out. There's only the melee Rex low at bottom. They can go right for Storm Spirit. We'll see if he actually ball lightnings over, because right now, the Dire side, they have to back up, but where are their TPs? There's nothing on the Shadow Fiend. There's nothing on the Abaddon. There's one on the Rubik. He's going to get back now. Centaur has his TPs in the backpack. What the heck is going on?
Always carry a teleport, guys.
You have a backpack,
it's
too.
Dota 101. Yeah, you've got 3 extra slots where you can just shove teleport scrolls. There's no excuse not to have a TP. They made them cheap, too. What are they, 25 gold now or something
Like
ridiculous?
50 gold.
50 gold, yes. I remember when a teleport scroll was 100 gold.
Don't even.
Back in my day, we had to teleport uphill both ways. But yeah, not having teleports, they pay the price. They lose a full lane of Rex that they definitely should not have lost.
Yeah, that was just so strange, and I'm honestly even more surprised that the UCONN didn't go for more with that. Like, they took so long to realize that, like, oh, they're actually not defending this. And then we look and realize that a couple of the players from URI didn't really have TPs available to them. It was just very strange.
Yeah. To be fair, I think they were just as surprised as we were about the fact that they had no teleport scrolls. We're getting the bird's eye view of the entire game, and they're not, and we were shocked to see it. So I don't blame them for backing up. You got a huge advantage, you might as well not waste it.
Yeah, but that's just going to make it so there's only one rack standing between the Radiant side and Mega Creeps, and it's all about keeping those lanes pushed in so they can possibly go and take that. Top is getting a lot of pressure out, and only Rubik is there to stop it. That's a little bit strange as the Radiant side show themselves at mid.
That Rubik has some enormous huevos, because against a Storm Spirit in a game like this, there is literally 0 chance that I would be out in a wave like that.
Yeah, I think it's just waiting for Roshan right now for the Radiant side. They can keep mid pushed in. They still have to take care of bot, and the call is to defend from the Dire side, but Macro Sky wants to try to go and take someone. He's actually going to go right for it with the Lifestealer. They're going to try to take it down. They're working against the backdoor protection right now, as well as the fortification. Now there's going to be a stomp immediately after the rage gets taken off. That's a little bit strange. Looks like the Storm Spirit is going to be fine to get away, but the Lifestealer, I don't think he's going to be so lucky. He's going right for the Centaur. It's not really who you want to try to focus down anyway. I think he's basically just giving himself up there.
That was an interesting play. A very, very interesting play. Didn't pay off, but it's going to buy time for Roche to come back up. They do have the buyback on the Lifestealer.
Yeah,
and a long respawn on the Roche.
Yeah, it is 2 minutes and 20 seconds from now, so 40 seconds less than the max. And with the Lifestealer death, I guess URI are looking a little bit more aggressive once again. They're thinking that they can push these lanes in, get some more racks off. Remember that they have taken down 3 already, and they're pretty close to the Mega Creeps as well. Not as close as UCONN, but they're still doing a lot of work there. And Timbersaw will push in bottom.
He's got a lot of creeps with him too, and it's just the Rubik back here. Any TP scrolls on the Dire? Not bad. And Rubik.
Sark is going to go back right now.
Backpack.
Maybe the Timbersaw can get out. The Sark isn't going to find him. Looking for the first. Nope, no first hit. Mini bash. I was about to say first hit bash, but Sark doesn't have his Abyssal or his Skull Basher yet.
Yeah, but smart play from the Timbersaw. You should be getting pushed on the high ground, and just his presence there on that last Rex is enough to save them the buyback on the Lifestealer, which could come into play, especially once he picks up a set of BTs. It should be very soon. He has the gold. Well, he's buying a Bloodthorn first.
This can be the Centaur ultimate once again, and they kill the crap out of those illusions on the mid lane. They're taking care of the creep wave. That was an excellent play by the Centaur to get his team into it faster.
You got to get that gold. And they go in to check the Roche pit. And they're going to be just as disappointed as we were when that timer came up. Another 45 seconds for that one.
Top lane still gets pushed in by Macro. Sky goes in with the ball lightning, so he can do quite a bit to do some split pushing here, and as well as keeping himself safe. But at the bottom, we could have Timbersaw is going to be recalled before that damage comes through from UCONN, so he's going to get back out once again.
It's so frustrating to be the Dire in a game like this. You're just getting run around constantly. You can't push out of your base because your other lanes are getting pushed in by the Storm, by the Timbersaw. They're getting recalled by the Coddle as soon as they do. It's so hard to deal with something like this. It's almost that point where you have to say, all right, I'm just going to fight you, and whoever wins, wins, because if this just keeps happening, we're going to lose. We're going to get ground down, and there's no way to win. So I'm curious to see how URI handles this.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty well so far, taking a couple fights around the map, taking advantage of the things when they have them, but Roshan is going to respawn now, and that's definitely going to the way of UCONN. Only the third Roshan of the 68-minute game, and well, you have an Aegis and Cheese this time around, so a little bit more utility coming out of it.
This is actually the fourth, so Cheese is going to be going the way of the Radiant once again. Yeah, the last one was that disastrous fight where the Centaur died.
I guess I just lost track of the Cheese on that one, but alright, so that's why you have co-casters so they can tell me when I'm being an idiot, but Abaddon is going to get found a little bit here. There is a lot of vision of him now taking out when he has the Gem of True Sight, but they're actually going to be able to try to chase him a little bit here. Does have the borrowed time. We'll see whenever the Dire side decide to try to defend this, but they're actually going to let the Abaddon die here. He's not really going to be too tanky when that second life comes through after borrowed time, and again, a very easy kill. The Gem is going to be on the ground, a little bit more. He's going to go right towards the Coddle. So he's got 2 gems now. 2 gems and an Aegis, or an Aghanim Scepter very close to an Aegis, but not quite for the Coddle. And they can continue to push in bottom. That Abaddon also does not have buyback at all. So we'll have a Timbersaw TPing back to bottom, and he's going to be able to take care of the full creep wave. We're 69 minutes in, and wow, we are still very close for each team. The net worth is now 20,000 in favor of UCONN, but as each team gets closer to level 25, the XP is going to naturally balance out. So we're going to be
Take a look at that.
through. Swarg, oh no. What? Swarg puts himself on the high ground. That can't be where he was trying to go. Well, he's going to be stuck there as now they have to try and defend their racks without him. And he still doesn't have a TP scroll at all. So Leicester starts to go right for the racks. We'll get hit with the Yule Scepter, but he keeps going here. It is nighttime, so the heals aren't coming through from the Rubik. Now you get a nice double crush on the backside from, well, only one from the Swardar. And they're going right for the Leicester. He's taken very low, but they get a Centaur War Runner turned into a pig. That's all the health that they work through. He has to buy back right now. They're going for the Megas, trying to take out that Rax, and Leicester's going to go right for it. They are able to take it, but he is going to take the Aegis off of him. Chinese very low, looking for the Requiem. White Run, he gets up, but he's going to be killed by the Timbersaw, getting right through with the Timber Chain. Another buyback comes out, and they're going to try to get into this fight. Mackerel Sky is going to get stunned by the Centaur. Nice stomp by him. There's the Requiem. Oh no, another silence on the Shadow Fiend. He can't get this Requiem off ever. Hurricane Pike gets used with a little bit more damage onto the Lifestealer, and there's finally the Requiem of Souls, but it's really underwhelming, and he's underneath 2 Chakrams. We've got a ton of Chakrams there with both the Rubik and the Timbersaw getting the action, but Shadow Fiend hasn't died just yet. And while we have a lot of Radiant members low, the Leicester gets into the creep to get away, and the Coddle's going to be able to TP out. They're just following this right now. Is the Leicester going to be able to stay alive? He's going to have to pop out of that creep pretty soon, and he's going to take it away. Now they try to go for it. Leicester trying to TP out. Is there going to be enough damage? Looks like, no! What? They don't have the Slark hitting him.
So lucky that he got out there. Wow.
I guess Abaddon's too fat for the Slark to hit through him.
That is just soul crushing. You got to be so upset when that happens to you. And that's the mega creeps. What do you do now? You just push down mid and hope for the best, I guess. I'm questioning the decision. They let the Abaddon, he just died. They just didn't even contest it at all. They lost their gem. And he didn't have buyback. If he had buyback, I could understand the decision of letting him die. But when he does not have buyback, and you only have 1 Rax left, he's going to be sitting there for 100 seconds, feeling sorry for himself while he watches you guys lose. You've got to take that fight. It's not a fight you want to take, but you have to take it, because otherwise you're just going to lose. So I question that decision, and you see what it did.
Yeah, we're going to hate to see if it actually proves to be the difference in this match for URI. They've done so well for most of it, but we're 72 minutes in, and they're against some mega creeps right now. Big advantage on the side of the Radiant. They don't have an Aegis anymore, and they definitely have the ability to establish a pretty good chokehold over URI right now.
Yeah, and here it comes. They just got to push down mid. They can't just keep trying to push out all the lanes. You gotta go, and you gotta go now.
Yeah, they're trying to push out all the lanes, but all the lanes are now, like, with just one member from the Radiant side arriving into it, it gets pushed in. That's how scared URI have to be at this point. Looking for a pick off at mid. Sark is going to go right for the Storm Spirit. They'll get the Abyssal Blade. Looking for another stop, and Storm is going to fall. And now here comes the Lifesteer. There's no Abyssal Blade to take care of him, but the rest of this team has to get in the fight. Buyback available from the Storm Spirit. He could get into this fight pretty well. He does have the boost to travel, but now we're going to have the Abyssal Blade put right back onto the Lifesteer. He's going to fall. He's got no... At Aegis, he's down for 95 seconds, does have buyback. We'll see if URI can take advantage of this. Meanwhile, the creeps will start to go into the base, so somebody has to take care of that.
Yeah, well, that's about the best thing you can hope for, getting the Storm Spirit and the Lifestealer. They do still both have buyback, and the Storm will be up in 5 seconds, thanks to Bloodstone, but you're forcing them to, you know, kind of consider the fact that the map is not entirely theirs, and here comes the push down mid. It's going to be one more fight. That's all it comes down to for URI.
It's going to have to be one more, and hoping that these creeps don't manage to end the game, because Mega Creep's very strong, only the Centaur back to defend it, and he's very tanky, but not too equipped to be able to do it. So actually URI start to go for a couple kills. They really can't afford for this to go all that long. They're going to have a buyback on the Lifesteer. Timbersaw's going to fall right down, does have buyback available on him. They're going to go for the rocks, but they've got to end the game here. They can't just keep doing that. They're actually going to go back up right now. That's
Why?
very strange.
Why? Go Throne, guys. Go Throne.
Well, they did force out another buyback by the Lifesteer, so at least that's going to be down the next time that they can kill him. But the question is if there's actually going to be a next time.
Yeah, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. It's been 75 minutes. You don't want to just throw it away trying to go for Throne desperately, but what choice do you have? You're just going to die slowly.
Well, the towers won't be strong at this point, so I guess maybe they can try to get Mega Creeps of their own. But that's not just the bottom lane that they would have to push in order to get that. They have to go for top as well. So they have a little bit more work they have to do before they can do that. But they are being a little bit smart here, saying, you know what, we can't really take a prolonged fight. We at least took a kill on the Timbersaw, and we took a Rax. We can maybe live with that a little bit more and try to get a push at top later. But just a lot of pressure is going to occur because of these megas.
Yeah, if anything goes wrong, literally anything goes wrong for URI, then UCONN is going to win the game. And then you smoke up, they're going to look. If they get a pick, they pick anybody, they're going to get that free kill and take advantage, and Rubik may be in trouble here.
Only the Storm Spirit and Timbersaw have buybacks right now. Nobody else has enough gold. Abaddon steps up in top. He does not really want to be around the jungle at all. Is getting kind of close to it, but he's safely inside of his base. Now, can the Radiant side get the initiation? That is the question. The smoke is going to eventually come off here, but they're still inside the jungle. The scan gets used, but there's nobody inside the Roshan pit right now. It's not going to be up for a little bit longer. As the wave pushes up in top, do they actually go for an initiation? Dark side have a couple advantages here. They are very close to their base, but the thing is, they don't have any buybacks. Those are all on the Radiant side right now. So once the Dark side died, they're going to be dead. And there's no coming back from it. Wheezy going right for the Timbersaw. Abyssal Blade is going to be there. Where's the counter initiation? They're trying to take him out. He's going to get the Timber Chain out, but he's actually going to get stunned in the middle of it. So they're able to get that kill. Seeing if they can get a little bit more. The Storm Spirit is going to spell ending out with the Lifesteer inside. They can't really push this for too long because the Mega Creeps are going to be threatening the base pretty soon.
The Timbersaw does have buyback now. He just picked that up.
Stark also has buyback now as well. So as the Dire side win a couple more fights, they get the gold that they need in order to have those buybacks up, which are essential at this point in the game.
Oh my god. Shortest possible Roshan timer. It's going to be up. I wonder if the Dire are going to be in any position to take it. I kind of doubt it. That so
was like literally nothing. I don't think I've seen that before.
5 seconds. Yeah, I think that's the shortest Rosh time I've ever seen. Wow.
Of course, we don't always look at the Rosh timers because you can't see those in game, but still, first I've seen as a caster, and I have definitely done my fair share of games.
Yeah, I've got to say that's by far the shortest I've ever seen as well, and man, that couldn't have been a worse timing for URI. They were
but they're going
over
right
by
for
the pit,
Rubik.
maybe 10 seconds
He's
before.
already used his Force Staff, and he's trying to get away. Doesn't have his Yule Scepter up. He is going to get stunned, but he's already used the Glimmer Cape trying to get away, and the ball ending will come through, but Rubik is still staying alive. And all on the backside, we've got the Requiem Souls, but it's going to be interrupted by the Abyssal Blade. Shadow Fiend in a little bit of trouble. Still trying to get that Requiem off, but he's going to get stunned once again by the Slaughter coming with the Crush, and Chinese has to get away. There's still Vision of the one Switch is going to find nice Mist Coil, keep him alive. Can he actually stay up? He doesn't have a Satanic. He doesn't really have anything to help him stay alive. He's just got to get out some straight damage. Centaur about to fall. He has the buyback available, has to use it right now. Oh, the Timbersaw going right for the Shadow Fiend. Slaughter right next to him as well. The thing is that we didn't really talk about, though, they've already lost the Lifestealer and the Storm Spirit, who haven't fought back at all. The Lifestealer doesn't even have access to it, and that's definitely going to hurt the damage that the Radiant side were able to do. Oh my gosh. Rubik getting chased into his own base, throwing out the shotgun to try to get these poor guys down, and they are going to defend. That was a huge fight for URI as they took the Storm Spirit and Lifestealer down right at the beginning of that. I don't even know how it happened, but eventually they did die, and that just led to Chinese. He was on such low health, getting saved by the Abaddon. He was able to stay alive throughout all of that, and now we're going to have to see URI. They need to do something here.
Yeah, he was saved by the Abaddon time after time. I think it was 4 or 5 times he would have died if the Abaddon hadn't gotten his spells off at just the right time. So, he's going to be sending him flowers and chocolates after that one. What a fight. I can't believe this game is still going on. Yeah, oh yeah.
That might be a keg-worthy thing, actually, if they can win this.
No kidding. Craft beer, too. None of that Budweiser.
Well, in any case, the push will still come in through the mid lane. The minions are going to be arriving. They want to try to go for this tier 3 tower at top with the Timbersaw and Storm Spirit being up. This is not so easy of a task. They need to get their real damage onto it. They need the Shadow Fiend here, but he's still defending the base. The tier 3 tower is going to fall. They're looking for Megas. It's going to take a while to take these racks down. They're going to lift the Slaughter up. Rubik, the only one doing anything there, is going to get hit with the Crush. Timbersaw trying to do some damage here. They're trying to keep these racks alive with the Lifestealer respawning right now. Are they actually going to be able to get the Megas? And the other question is, does it actually matter? Storm Spirit in with the ball lane. They're doing some damage there. Slark is going ham here. He's going right for the Storm Spirit, nearly taking him out. Storm Spirit with the ball lane away is going to be fine. Now Lifestealer starts to go into the Slark, and Slark in a lot of trouble. Is going to go even further into the base. He's trying to get away. It's not really working well for him at all. Turned into a pig. There's one rack separating the Radiant side and Mega Creeps right now. It could be Megas on Megas action, but we're 80 minutes in, and this is just, it does not get closer than this, guys. We're 42 to 40. It's 80 minutes in. There's not a whole lot to separate these teams at all. Just the buybacks that end up mattering right now. And looks like Radiant, they want to try to end this. They're going right for the bottom lane.
How is this game 1 of the series? We've got at least one more game coming up after this as UCONN finally pushing in.
Yeah, they're trying to push in, but the buybacks are still available on the Dire side. Sark is definitely going to be forced into him as Abaddon very far up here. Does get hit with the Mana Wave kill. Just a Photic shield that off. So he doesn't take a whole lot of mana damage there. But now they'll start to go right for it. Sark is going to buy back. Nephilim in some trouble. Beautiful 3-man crush from the Rubik. They're going right for it. Here comes Chinese with the Requiem Souls. Gem dropped on the ground. Swish in a lot of trouble. He's going to get turned into a pig as well. He's going to die 123 seconds on the silence. URI might have just won themselves this game, but 2 buybacks are still available on the Timbersaw and the Coddle. Storm Spirit and Lifestealer have managed to stay up, and that's quite a bit of damage there. Top lane has to be pushed up, bottom lane has to be pushed up, but that's a huge step for URI to try to win this game. They could also go for that lone racks at top if they can push this in. Buyback used by Coddle. He's going to get right back in this fight. He doesn't want to stay out for too long, and neither does the Timbersaw.
Slardar dead for another 95 seconds, so that crush was perfect. If he had been a few units in any direction, he would have not gotten 3, and that was the perfect setup for that fight. They got every single person he stunned, and that is so huge. That is Megas. They don't have Fortify. Just run in, click on it, use your BKBs, and then it's Megas versus Megas, and who knows where we go from there.
And the buybacks are still up for the Dire side. So they'll go right for this Rax. They'll BKB and take out. They'll get the Megas. And now the Dire side can back up. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be here for a little bit longer, guys. Back up, get the Roche. You have this advantage. You don't have Megas pushing into your base now. It's even. You're back to that even playing field. This is the time. If you're URI, do whatever you want. It's not quite even because Slaughter is still down. Rubik about to fall. He's on the high ground. He's been left there. He's going to pop after the Orchid, and now the Dire side starts to go right for the Lifestealer. Lifestealer is going to get stunned up a lot by the Sark, who's being allowed to take him out. He's dead for 99 seconds, and the Storm Spirit turned into a pig, and that's going to be another death on the side of UCONN.
No buyback.
There's no need for a Roshan. There's no need for a Roshan at all here. They can keep going right for the base. They just need to get these waves pushed in. And, well, there's only one thing for the Timbersaw to do in this situation. He has to push up bottom, try to go for the base for himself, because this is going to be such a strong push from the Radiant side. And there are no buybacks available from them at all. They're going to go right up with the Centaur. URI, they smell the victory in their hands. They're going to go right for the tier 4 towers. Timber Chain stolen by the Rubik. Blinding Light used to try to slow this down, but they keep going for the tier 4 towers. Lots of damage being done by the Shadow Fiend. They're going right for it. Is the Ancient going to fall? Borrowed time popped on the Abaddon. He gets a lot of his health back here. Switch trying to do some work, but the Storm Spirit and the Light Spear, they're the main damage. Oh, they're trying to get the Shadow Fiend, but he's going to be able to get away from the Chakrams. They're going right for the base. They feel that the Ancient is ready to go. They'll use the Requiem. Don't use the Requiem. Use the other attacks. You want to go for the Ancient. You want to try to end this game, but it looks like URI are going to bask in for it as long as they can. They feel like they've definitely won this one. Blinding Light gets used, and that will be it. URI taking this one in 83 minutes over UCONN. What a freaking match, guys.
What a game. That is, oh my god. Comeback from Megas in an 83-minute match. First game of the series. We're going into a second one with URI up 1-0. I cannot believe that. I am so hyped right now. I am so pumped after watching that game.
Who would have thought that with that kind of start that we would be Megas on Megas action, ending it in 83 minutes, URI eventually coming out, and all I can say is that I'd rather they not go 80 minutes in game number 2.
I don't know if my heart could take it. You may be calling an ambulance for me if we have another game like that. Wow.
Yeah, what a match here from URI, and well, I guess the only thing left for us to do is to go into a break and try to get into game number 2, because we've got some more Dota action coming your way here in the AVGL spring season. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll be right back with some more.
Time for a breather, I think,
yeah,
after that one.
Breather and some water. We'll be right back.
All right.
She said I will find it myself, find my haven if I only take her hand. Why are you still? Why do you do? Why don't you move? There's so much more you could make of this world. And she said, and she
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the AVGL spring season. I'm Pithimagoon back with Nakamov, and I really hope that this match is not going to be 83 minutes again.
As much fun as that was to watch, I agree with you. I I can only handle one of those games a night.
For sure.
Do you think this one's going to go to 3? It was such a close game all the way through.
You know, it was a really close game, but I think that one team might be able to find a little bit more of an advantage in the draft, which, speaking of the draft, we do have it up here for you guys. So why don't we just stop jawing too much and get right into it between our teams URI and UCONN. Currently, URI have the 1-game advantage in this series.
Yes, they do, and a well-earned advantage at that.
Most definitely. So already in our draft, we've got a Centaur picked up for UCONN, and that's going to be switching sides from the last one. And if we look at our bans again, URI take out the Shadow Demon, and we have the Abaddon from the last game banned out as well. So that's going to leave Coddle in the pool. Slaughter is going to be in it as well.
Centaur Coddle, it's greedy, but I think they're going to be happy to get it. URI obviously valuing that Weaver very, very highly. I'm curious to see. It's something we've seen quite a bit of in the major qualifiers, but I'm curious to see how they play it. I think he's just a ridiculously strong hero. I think he was undervalued for a long time. He was strong in the late stages of 6.8, and he's been very strong all the way through 7. So I'm glad to see him finally coming into the meta.
Sometimes the meta is not necessarily about the strengths of the hero, but the strengths of the hero against the ones that currently are in the meta. So, yeah, I think the Weaver in this situation, he's been strong, has been strong for a while, but with the other kinds of minus armor heroes that are getting picked up, and the current utilization of the swarm skill that he has, is possibly what's leading him to be a little bit more popular here.
Right. And the Disruptor pickup from URI. Disruptor is a hero that I love. I think he's so strong in so many different situations. The Glimpse is good against Centaur. The Glimpse is good against Keeper of the Light. You're going to be setting yourself up for a lot more picks that you would not be getting otherwise. I think he fits very well into the draft, and he provides a lot of utility along with the Weaver. You're going to be able to get in and out of the fights a lot better, even against heroes like Centaur. And the bans, Tinker banned out. That's something they've been banning pretty consistently. URI has played it once, I believe, and I can understand not wanting to play against him. He's literally the most annoying hero in Dota.
One of the most annoying for sure. Just the way that he's able to delay games would make it a little bit more difficult for UCONN here, but you know, you kind of want to target that ban. If there's a good Tinker player on the other side, which I guess there should be for URI, it makes a lot of sense to take it out. Otherwise, you're probably not going to see a Tinker banned out so much. But going on with the rest of our bans, like it looks like we are targeting around the mid lane quite a bit more here, with the Ember Spirit and the Storm Spirit being banned away.
Yeah, I think the first phase of bans is generally ban the things that are super overpowered or things that are in the meta that you can't play. And the second phase is more ban the things that you don't want to play against. I think it was PPD who said that's basically the way things go. You target your bans in the second phase and you play meta in the first phase of banning. So I'm curious to see what UCONN bans here. Maybe they're going to ban the Rubik again because it was such a strong pick for URI previously.
Yeah, we see a
Luna's
lot
still
of
in the pool
teams with the Rubik.
Right. And Rubik, always a strong pick. Since Dota came out, Rubik has been the #1 most picked hero through all programs. Literally every single program, he is the most picked hero. So he's always been a good option, but he is once again coming back into the meta and becoming particularly strong against Centaur, against the Lone Druid, against SD, against Ember Spirit. So still in the pool, Luna in the pool too. So one of those heroes is going to come through to UCONN. I don't know if they play Rubik. They probably should have a Rubik player, you would think. But really up to URI what they want to let slip through, what's going to be worst against their game plan.
There is going to be the Slaughter taken out, making it seem like UCONN suspect that URI are going to go with a little bit more of a minus armor strat. We'll have to see. There are a lot of other minus armor heroes still in the pool, such as the Vengeful Spirit or the Templar Assassin, that could work pretty well with the Weaver. And if a TA gets picked up here, that should be pretty exciting as well.
I'm actually really glad that you mentioned the Vengeful Spirit, because Venge is another hero that URI does play. They played it in at least one of their matches, I believe 2 through the AVGL, and they have played 2 series with 5 games total. So they have picked up that hero occasionally and played it as a core with a Weaver as well. So I'm curious to see if that is something that they want to go into. And they could keep it as a core. They could keep it as a support too, and just get something a little more scaling as their core.
So going on with the rest of our draft, Juggernaut has been banned out by URI. So again, that's been a pretty strong hero, kind of a catch-all in terms of how carries tend to go. He's definitely very strong, can farm up well, and just that trump card of the Omni Slash every single time can be counterplayed a little bit by the axe, but still a strong hero nonetheless.
Yeah, Juggernaut, he's always been a very strong hero. He scales very well into the mid game. He does fall off a bit, but until he falls off, he is such a strong carry. He farms well, he catches up well, he pushes well, he team fights well. He is, a jack of all trades for the first 40 minutes of a game.
There was even a time where Lanham would go support Juggernaut.
I remember support Juggernaut. I tried it a couple times and it never worked. So I think that just says that Lanham is much better than I am. But he was a very, very good for that spin and the healing ward.
Definitely has a lot of good qualities there. And is also good for pushing, which is a pretty big component of this patch. And there's that Rubik that you were talking about coming out for UCONN. So they're going to be able to play that one here, and we'll see if there are going to be any good spell steals. We saw some really good ones in the last match from URI.
Picking a Rubik against Weaver Disruptor, it's a great time to be a Rubik, because basically you're always going to be able to get Shikuchi. If you don't get that, you're going to be getting Time Lapse or the Swarm, and every single one of those spells from Weaver is fantastic. Disruptor, you're going to get Glimpse, you're going to get Kinetic Field, you're going to get Static Storm. Sometimes you get unlucky and get Thunderstrike, but you got about a 75% chance that you're going to get a really good spell. So Rubik is going to be very happy in this game, and if URI, I think they need to pick a core here. I would like to see them pick up the Luna. The TA would be probably pretty solid because there's not a lot of damage over time here. The Viper is still in a pool that could be picked up. I want to see them pick up a very aggressive scaling core with what they have right now. Maybe an Undying even as their second support for a tri-lane.
Yeah, Undying would be interesting. It would be a very aggressive play, to be honest, from URI, if they went for that. But they're actually going to go for a Faceless Void instead. So this is kind of interesting. We don't see Void picked up a whole lot. I believe that Team Faceless, actually played that today, which was kind of funny. Team Faceless playing Faceless Void. Made a lot of sense. We'll have to see how it goes for URI, because this is not really a hero that's picked up a whole lot. And it gives another thing for the Rubik to pick up with that Chronosphere. But the other thing is that Faceless Void also moves within Rubik's Chronosphere, so it would be an interesting steal to happen there.
Right. It is a very positioning dependent spell for Rubik. You can catch 4 other people with it. And there's the Luna for UCONN. Their draft is shaping up very nice to team fight and OD. This must be a pocket strat from URI. They've got something very specific planned here.
So URI going with that OD, a very strong hero, and a lot of teams actually do go and ban that out. But I'm looking at against UCONN's draft, I'm not really seeing a whole lot that's going to be able to deal with, well, put it this way, UCONN, they have things they're able to deal with one hero, but now I'm looking at URI and saying, well, it's just more than one hero that they're going to have to deal with here. Weaver's a huge threat, needs to be taken care of early in a fight. OD also a big threat as well, and you do not want him to be able to build up those intelligence stacks either. So he's going to be getting a huge amount of damage if he's not taken out early in the fight as well.
Right, and they do have a fair amount of burst damage right now with those initiations. I do like the OD, though. He's kind of like discount Shadow Demon in a lot of ways. He's not quite as strong, but he is scaling, and I love the Nyx Assassin pick. I think this is a fantastic choice. Very strong against Rubik. Very, very, very strong against Keeper of the Light. You can't push aggressively as a Nyx without putting down wards every 10 seconds. So I really like this lineup from URI. It kind of had a little bit of confusion towards the middle of the draft, but the Nyx brings it all together. Very, very strong. So UCONN, I think they need someone very, very tanky, and Sniper is really not it. I don't know about that. Against Glimpse, against a Weaver, a Nyx Assassin, a Faceless Void to the Chronosphere, I don't like the Sniper. I don't like that choice at all.
Yeah, Sniper's interesting. It's definitely something that can be picked up well with the Centaur. So Centaur already on one team. That's generally the condition that you're going to see a Sniper picked up. We see a lot of teams that are actually like picking up things that like work well with each other. The disruptor, weaver, things that you're generally going to see paired up. Now you also have the sniper and centaur. So they're trying to use that charge to make sure that the sniper doesn't end up dying when the initiation comes through. Could also help them avoid some of the chronosphere. And also the Nyx Assassin and OD. The Nyx Assassin usually plays the counter to the OD, so you see it being picked up here just so that UCONN don't have access to that.
Right. Chinese on the Nyx Assassin, he's going to be taking that to the middle lane. And I think he's going to be up against Mackerel Sky. So they're going to have a bit of an advantage in the mid lane. UCONN will. They can be pleased with that. Though they may rotate Myth out around to the mid lane if they pick up on this. These lanes are shaping up pretty interestingly. We're seeing the aggressive tri-lane from the Dire, or at least the aggressive movement into the jungle. I don't know if they're going to tri-lane this. It's just very scattered right now. I don't know really how to call it.
Yeah, it's a little bit close here, as was the last match, and what we definitely do want in the AVGL is some very close matches, and I think I hope that we're going to get another good one here. This time, both bounty runes, well, 2 bounty runes going to each side, so that's going to be a little bit more even this time around. We'll see how it works out.
Right. Okay, so there's the OD in the mid lane up against the sniper. It still benefits the sniper. He has that range advantage after they made the changes to OD a few patches ago. I think it was 6.83 when they changed him pretty significantly.
So
curious about the tri-lane versus tri-lane setup here. Who do you think has the advantage in this tri-v-tri?
Well, it has to actually turn into a full tri-v-tri. Right now, the Dire is still having Nyx Assassin get into the lane with the support weaver trying to do a little bit of, well, I guess it's not a support weaver at all. I don't really know what this weaver is doing, actually. He's not on the lane. Disruptor is going to be the closest one getting XP. Maybe he's just getting zoned out right now. This is just a little bit strange.
You know, I'm actually not against this. If you get level 2 on the Disruptor, you can have Glimpse Kinetic Field or Glimpse and a Thunderstrike, and that gives you a lot of kill potential. When you do get the Nyx into lane, the Weaver is very strong with that level 1 Shikuchi. He can do a ton of damage. I mean, it's fairly significant, and they do know that there's a sentry there now after that, I would think.
Yeah, they should definitely know with that damage coming in onto the Weaver. So we do have a rotation on the mid for the Nyx Assassin, again trying to put some pressure onto Mackerel in the mid lane, and OD is definitely going to like that, but he hasn't gone for a value point into the Arcane Orb, so their damage in this lane is kind of decreased. We've seen a couple of ODs go for that a little bit more as of late. Maybe not so many levels into the Astral and Prisons. Myth starts to put a little bit more damage in the Myth. I don't think he's gotten the message that he's supposed to be more of a core in that lane, but he wants to go forward a little bit more and doesn't have enough mana for a Shikuchi. That's going to be the first blood, though, coming through, as a Disruptor is going to be able to find that. Perhaps he is actually the carry here, because generally the Disruptor is not going to take that either, but Myth is going to go right for Keeper of the Light here, and waiting on the high ground is an Nyx Assassin. Gets the Impale as well. They're looking for a little bit more damage. Luna's going to go forward. Myth is completely out of mana for the Shikuchi, and he needs to get 14 back before he can get it off. Luna trying to get the Lucent Beam, but wasn't able to do so. Now they're looking for a little bit more. Next Impale coming up in 1 second. Disruptor's going to be taken out of this fight. Luna trying to get away, but she is not going to be able to. That's going to be 2 kills on the bottom line. On the bottom lane, URI taking both of them, and they actually have 3 kills to start off this match, and Myth wants to continue to get aggressive here. Has another Shikuchi through, and he absolutely has to get back right now. Does not have the ability to stay close to that lane at all.
Yeah, there you go. So there's that fast level 2 on the Disruptor. Pays off. Gets them 3 kills in a row in this tri-lane. They are just balling out of control down here. They go back to the shrine. They get all their HP, get all their mana back. You couldn't be happier if you were URI right now. That's fantastic. And despite that, you know, despite the focus on the bottom lane, Faceless Void farming happily. He's top on the net worth. I mean, it's not going as well as he'd like, but that's to be expected too. So everything going according to plan for URI's draft. Really coming along.
Yeah, they get this aggressive tri-lane and get it working extremely quickly here. 3 kills, or rather 2-1 on the Disruptor, getting a lot out there. And, well, I guess it's not all going bad for UCONN here. They do manage to get off a D ward, but again, this is not really how you want your early game to go if you're UCONN. You need to try to get some good farm on the Safeling Luna. Missing the Impale here, but they'll put out the Mana Burn and take some more of it off of the Luna, so she has just one less of those Lucent Beams to put through here.
Oh, Coddle's going to lose his clarity.
Coddle,
no.
yeah, he's going to take it off there with the Thunder Strike, and looks like the Weaver wants to get in on this one a little bit more. Hit with the Shikuchi, and the Generating Storm could come through. Needs to make sure that he doesn't lose too much mana with the Mana Leap, but he's actually going to fall there as he couldn't really move, and with the Shikuchi coming off a little bit after that lift, he wasn't able to stay alive. So the Weaver,
just a little bit of miscommunication there. If the Disruptor had stayed there and walled, they would have been able to kill him before he got under the tower, but unfortunately, not able to do that. So a little bit of recovery from UCONN. They're going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, and once the kills start coming on that aggressive trialing, it gets less and less effective. So in the future, URI are going to try to limit those and maybe get a little bit more farm on the Weaver in the future, because they really do need him to be doing some damage in this game.
Yeah, he does need to scale. That's very important. There's a lot more scaling on the Radiant, so if they go into the late game, I would definitely give them a slight advantage. Well, it's hard to say with a Faceless Void. It depends on how the lanes go.
It's probably going to focus on making sure that the sniper gets taken down every fight and not allowing him to do some damage, and then making sure that you still have something to take care of the Luna. The other heroes, they do stuff, but they should be relatively easy to kill other than the Centaur, but you know, there's only so much that a Centaur can do. Have a rotation in the top though from the Nyx Assassin, as Miss is still chasing Nephilim over the mid.
He really is a support. Wow. He is just all over the place down here. I've seen him chasing people around more than he's been in lane, and Luna is thanking her lucky stars or celestial objects, as the case may be, that she's finally getting some free time to farm. Has her boots, got her treads at 5.5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, I think she's just thanking Salamene here for the time that she gets in lane. A little bit more damage on the Weaver as well. He's supporting for most of this game, and he's just at 8 last hits. He's gonna move up right now, and the Rook's coming right next to him. He's dead, 100% dead with the Lucent Beam coming through. That was not a good place for him to be at all.
I'm questioning the decisions that URI made. They had an advantage in this tri lane, and they didn't push the advantage. They're giving the Luna plenty of time to farm. She's level 6 now. She's got a kill. She's pretty happy with everything. And Weaver, he's level 4. He's fallen behind significantly after getting 3 kills in lane. So I'm not entirely thrilled with the decisions that URI have made, but aggression happening mid.
Yeah, that's again what you do with the sniper. So Assassinate coming through, but he gets the easy Astral Imprison. You can't really use an Assassinate onto an OD when he has that, so maybe he just tries to fake it out a couple times. But yeah, that was the idea behind picking a sniper with a Centaur. You have the charge available to yourself, so when you get a gank onto the sniper like that, you just go right ahead and get him out of there with the charge. So you have to be able to have a lot of CC there in order to get the kill. And looks like Chinese is going to come around from the side here. Luna trying to stay alive. There's the Impale coming through, and Disruptor's going to keep him there, but the Eclipse is going to turn things around, and that last Eclipse is going to hit onto the Nyx Assassin, taking him out. They need a little bit more help here for the Luna. They're not going to dive it right now. They can't really do so at all with the Coddle showing up, but he's going to be glimpsed back as Disruptor just runs away and loses all his mana for some reason.
Yeah, that Nyx Assassin wishing he was level 3 right now. If he had a single point in Spike Carapace, it would have been a very, very easy kill. I don't know that I agree with him taking Mana Burn level 2. I think Spike Carapace is more worth it in this game. Against a Coddle, it's the second thing you should take every time.
Yeah, for sure. Chronosphere will be dropped on the top lane. Wheezy going right in for it, and Stomp is not going to get a chance to go off, as eventually Wheezy is going to be able to find the kill without any outside help at all. So Chinese just sits in the top lane, and well, he is actually at level 3, so he did have access to the Spike Carapace, but he decided to put the second point into Impale instead of having that extra defensive ability.
You're killing me, Chinese. You're killing me. But, you know, he's his own man. He makes his own decisions, and we'll see if it pays off for him.
Indeed we will. Mid lane Sniper still farming up pretty well. He's got the extra band of Elven Skin being delivered to him for the Dragonlance. And OD if we look at the last hits, he is slightly behind. The sniper now has a double damage ring getting into the lane, but he's going to be building up for his Hurricane Pike pretty quickly here.
Wow, that Lucent Beam does so much damage to the Weaver. He took one and it was almost half his HP.
And he doesn't even have time lapse yet.
No, he's really struggling right now. He's going to farm in the jungle even, with a little bit of help from the OD, and they're going to do the shrine.
Yeah, they're just going for the shrine right now. Can maybe farm up the ancient camp with that, but they're going to take a lot of damage as a result of that, and Myth is probably going to lose all of that health that he actually gained back with the shrine if he continued to go on to that.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit right now. He needs to just kind of get the creeps behind the tower. Don't get blown up. Yeah, you see how much that Lucent Beam does to him.
Oh, just missing the kinetic field, and they don't get the glimpse back onto the Luna either. Again, it's interesting. He puts 2 points in the kinetic field, even though he still has the glimpse at level 1, which greatly reduces its range.
Yeah. I usually go 1-4-1 or 1-4-2, just because Glimpse max range is so huge. It's 1,800 units, which anyone you can see, you will be able to glimpse them, and sometimes people you can't see, you can glimpse them. So he would have been able to glimpse her back. I think it's actually beneficial that he wasn't able to, though, because she had her ultimate up again. The creep wave was almost gone because you're underneath the tower. They might have actually lost the Weaver again if he had glimpsed her back.
So maybe it's good that they didn't actually decide to go for that, even though the Luna would be taking quite a bit of damage there, but they don't really want to give up anything more to her at this point. And if we look at the net worth right now, Faceless Void is at the top of it, trying to get towards his Vlad's offering right now, but he's still farming up pretty well.
Yeah, he's been farming very nicely. He is top of the net worth right now, getting all the CS he wants, and Centaur may be in trouble if he finds the Disruptor. But Rubik is here as well.
Yeah, they don't really want to fight this right now. There's a pretty big push coming in. Well, there was a push coming in from bottom, but Chinese gets back over to the top. He's still at level 4, and you definitely want to try to prioritize getting some levels on these supports so they can get their ultimates up. But the bottom tower is going to take a lot of damage here. Oh, Rubik is going to be found by the Faceless Void. The stun goes out, and they're going to throw out the Chronosphere. Oh, perfect Chronosphere. Hanging on to both heroes. They put down the kinetic field maybe a little bit too early. It's going to be the mana leak onto Azazu, and Darius trying to get out. He's trying to blink out, and he actually is going to make it, having that picked up very early. The bottom tower did fall, but ends up being just a Rubik kill at top for the Chronosphere, even though it was pretty well placed.
Yeah, it was a very good Chronosphere. He did get the kill on the Rubik. You can't be too upset because they don't trade for that kill. They don't get anything out of it. And sure, you burned Chrono, but you got more on your Void, who's already doing very well. He's almost level 11. Got his Vladimir's offering, and it looks like he is going for Mantha next. So he's going for the old school Void build, the hard scaling Void.
I think I'd like to see just a little bit better execution from URI, though. Like, having the kinetic field placed down in a good position, but during the Chronosphere isn't really going to do all that much. And you saw, like, right after the Chronosphere, the kinetic field immediately disappeared. So it wasn't really too effective there at all. Just kind of placed down and wasted the mana of the Disruptor for the time being.
In fairness to the Disruptor, the Centaur did actually walk into the Chrono. He wasn't in it when it was placed. So Disruptor, he did make a little bit of a mistake there, but it was not entirely his fault. He was trying his best.
Still, back at mid, we've got Chinese at level 5, just trying to get up to level 6 right now as the OD is going to move up in that lane. He's still trying to farm up right now, needs to stay on par with the snipers, just slightly ahead at this point. He's farming up pretty well, and the Assassinate will come through. With the Astro Imprison being done, every single time you see that on cooldown as a sniper, you want to throw out the Assassinate, which you see being done every time. Chinese in a lot of trouble. He is actually nearly just left in at the high ground there. Does get the double impale to try to get away. Chinese trying to get out right now. He's going to be able to TP out, and there's no more telekinesis, no Lucent Beam in range either for the Luna, so Myth is going to be able to get away. Actually uses a time lapse there to get out.
It was a nice time lapse. Very safe.
Maybe they're looking for another Chronosphere in 8 seconds from Wheezy. There's going to be the Mana Leak used, and Darius could just kind of stay there. Wheezy uses the Time Walk to get out, and they use a lot of damage out onto the center. He's going to be kept into the entire Stack Storm, and looks like Zazu pretty much did the entire thing by himself there. Coddle could be in some trouble, maybe looking to get the Chronosphere onto him, but they'd have to go pretty far for it. Using another Time Walk possible here, looking to get the Chronosphere. Is he actually going to be able to use it though? It would have to be on the edge of it, and he's thinking about it. Pump fakes it, doesn't quite get it though. So OD is already very low at mid. Maybe he tries to force out another. Oh, there's going to be a nice triple Chronosphere, but where's the damage? Arcane Orb is doing quite a bit. OD could be in some trouble. That Sniper wants to do a little bit more damage there, but Rubik in a lot of trouble. They're also going to glimpse back the Sniper in a lot of trouble. He's just got to try to turn into some damage. Here comes the Centaur. Could look for a good ultimate, but they'll drop the hammer onto him as Tiny gets a double kill in the mid lane.
Well, you asked for execution. You got it. They baited that Sniper. They baited 3 people so hard and got a flawless Chronosphere on top of them. And the Knicks coming in from behind as well. Really nice positioning from all of those players. Excellently done from URI, and they're just going to shrine right back up and take advantage of that too. I'd like to see them try to force this Luna out of the lane and get a little bit more map control in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, Luna does have some kind of idea that she could be in some trouble soon, so she's going to be able to TP out. And there's no tier 1 to take in that lane either. So there's only so much effectiveness that the dire side can have here. Let's just get some more control on the map with some wards and keep their streak going here.
Right, and you're coming up on that 15 minutes, so the jungle camps are going to be spawning again soon. You can steal some of that away. It's a good source of farm for Luna with her glaives as well as the Sniper. So it's good against the team that UCONN has fielded to take the jungle camps as much as possible. Smoke up from the Radiant there.
Yeah, they have the smoke.
Scan.
And the Blink Dagger on center to move towards the mid lane. Zazu could be in a huge amount of trouble. There's actually going to be a really badly timed Weaver TP into the lane, and they're going to be able to scout this out. They were actually right underneath the Observer Ward. Glimpse is going to come back to the other side of the kinetic field for the Rubik. He's going to put OD on the high ground, but that's going to be an easy kill. Now Weaver also getting a little bit more aggressive onto the center. That's not really who you want to try to put it onto, but this is still creating space for Wheezy at top, who is going right for the tier 1 tower. Looks like the dire side want to get even more aggressive here. They'll continue to push their play here as they still have the Vendetta inside the jungle. Oh, looking for the Stack Storm. He's going to get it onto 1. Just the Luna staying there, but it's still going to be enough. Now Zazu in a lot of trouble, but he's going to get healed up a little bit. And can they actually do enough to the Sniper? Sniper just standing strong, trying to do some damage. Ruby comes from the backside. There's going to be a glimpse back onto him, though. Rich is not going to die as a result of this. They're looking for a little bit more damage, but the Illumina is not going to hit, as we were still looking for Mackerel. And I guess with the TP going out, Nephlim's going to change the harass onto him. Now they're also looking for Centaur. Centaur looking for a good stomp, but he's not going to be able to get it off yet. Was thinking about it. Oh, where's this by Carapace? He was even trying to go into that, but Centaur was not going to be still alive there. And yeah, again, execution is the name of the game for URI, taking a big fight inside of the Radiant jungle.
Yeah, and again, you see how strong the Nyx Assassin and the Weaver are against the heroes that UCONN have picked. Coddle, he is not in any position to do anything, because if he does manage to get a fully charged Illuminate off, he's going to be hit with the Spike Carapace. If he is running all over the place trying to hide them back, he's going to get opened up on from the Vendetta. He's going to be hit with the Swarm. He's going to be bothered with the Shikushi, and then the Weaver can just time-lapse right out. So 2 of the heroes on the side of UCONN, they have no use in these fights because they just get locked down and they can't run away.
Now we're starting to see a type of game where UCONN are getting outmaneuvered. We took a tier 2 tower bottom, Faceless Void got away from top, and now Luna farming up inside the jungle. Is there actually going to be a rotation on her? She doesn't see a whole lot inside her jungle, just a couple of glimpses here and now in there. But Weaver going through the jungle is going to be seen. There's also a Sentry Ward in the mid lane. Sniper could get caught out. He's actually going to the jungle right now. Chinese sees him. He's right next to the tower, but he's not going to be seen just yet. It's just going to see a whole lot of rotations to the mid lane as Centaur blinks over. Chinese is like, I don't know why you're doing that, man. He has to get out with the Vendetta, though. The next one is up in 30 seconds, and that Vendetta is going to expire. Probably just wants to TP out with that. He's going to
he's just going to TP out. He knows where literally everyone on the Radiant team is. He saw 5 people. He knows where everyone is. It's like the best ward you could possibly place because it moves around. So they use his time for a little bit. He gets experience. He leeches it from the enemy jungle camp. And the rest of his team just gets a free farm because they know where everyone is. So Nyx, again, paying off. I really, really like that pick in this draft.
Yeah, it is quite good, and like you did see, I mean, it's a good counter to the OD. When you pick it alongside of it, you deny the enemy team the chance for the counter, but as you say, it is extremely good against the Coddle and the Centaur. Now, with the Nyx on the high ground, he is just right next to a sentry, so he is going to die here. Like, most definitely, all the burst damage comes through, but he does have the spike carapace still, and he's still trying to get away out from underneath the sentry ward. Was not quite able to make it, though.
They just barely got him, but whatever. He's fairly low level. He's not worth a lot. He's lowest on the net worth, so a worthwhile
We'll just
trade.
pretend that he didn't die. That's fine, right?
Yeah, again, you know where 5 people are, so 4 people on your team get to farm. And it looks like they're going to group up. They might want to smoke here now that they've got the Hurricane Pike on the OD. As soon as Nyx comes back up, maybe they're going to play aggressively and try to take another team fight.
Yeah, he can come in with the Vendetta as well. They've also got the Chronosphere on Faceless Void. No Manta Style just yet, so they're not getting the full effectiveness of the build-up just yet. But I guess they're not going to be too willing to fight right now with Chinese going to the top lane to farm that out.
Right.
Give the
They don't really need
Faceless
to.
Void. Yeah, they don't really need to. They can continue to farm up right now. They have a pretty good advantage, like nearly 9,000 net worth on the Faceless Void. It's going to be really difficult to play against. All right, the Mana Leak used on the Nyx Assassin, and Coddle with the Illuminate. And Nyx Assassin just goes into the Vendetta after that, and they could possibly try to go for the Coddle right now. Faceless Void does start to arrive to the lane. They're chasing pretty far for Nephilim, putting down the Sentry Ward. They will get the Impale, need a little bit more damage there, and they should be able to get it. Yeah, they do. So they take down the Coddle. Poor old man gets put into the retirement home, and now UCONN, they try to do something after it, but they're not quite going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, Coddle trying to bait, but people just not TPing in quickly enough for that to work out. He had the sentry, everything they needed to set it up, but timing not on his side at all.
So with the Weaver still at the mid lane, the rest of the Rhode Island side don't really seem to care about his movements too much. They're going to still stay at top and maybe try to push this in pretty hard. They've got to smoke up for themselves, see if they can actually get a kill here. Luna steps up a little bit in this lane to try to catch it out, but the Chronosphere available. They're about to go for it, and they do. Eclipse is going to get used, and that's actually going to take the Faceless Void very low. Stagstorm is going to get used. Oh no, did they actually just save the Void with that Astral Imprisonment? Yeah, they did. So OD with a good play there. Wheezy's still taken very low, and they're still looking for the kill on the Void. Oh, another beautiful Astral Imprison keeping the OD up, but a lot of Dire Side members are very low here. The Illuminate not quite catching out the Nyx Assassin, and the TPs, oh no, they're not quite going to get the Disruptor out. I thought there was a chance, but no, he's going to be stomped on by the Centaur, and that will be a kill. At least one going the way of UCONN, but still, their Luna died.
Yeah, Disruptor for Luna, that's a trade you'll take every time, and I think they can rotate around and take this mid tower. They burned a whole lot of ults for that one. So Weaver, at least he's going to get that chip damage, maybe force out a Fortify.
Yeah, the thing was, there was just a little bit too much damage taken there by the Dire side. Like, Wheezy went in with the Time Walk, and that's kind of a no-no as a Faceless Void. You really are looking for your Blink Dagger or your Shadow Blade to get into the fight like that. Just because, like, you go in with the Time Walk, you have no way of staying alive. So, it did force out the Eclipse, but he took a huge amount of damage from that. Forced his team to use the Astral Imprisonment to try to save him.
I don't think that that's bad, though. I feel as though the Astral
was terrible. At least
it's who you want to use it on anyway, just because it does all that damage.
But you'd rather not use it at all is the point.
That's true. That's very true. But again, you know, they take a beneficial trade. They're pushing their advantage even further. They trade someone who's not worth a whole lot for a top farmer on the Radiant team.
So right now, Chinese, he's nearly at his Dagon. So you just click the button and then Dagon. But I don't know if... Yeah, sorry. Gotta get the low-hanging fruit sometimes. But Vendetta's also been stolen by Rubik as they tried to get some scouting off on the Dire side. Rubik's going to see a couple of Heresy Myth going around, and they are going to get onto the Centaur. You could get a stomp off, and there's the surprise Rubik over on the backlines, but the Impale comes through as the Centaur held up a little bit by the Pipe of Insight. They're going to try to get the charge away with the kinetic field, not really doing a whole lot at all. Oh, that is not a TP that's going to be hitting well at all as they go right for the Centaur, and they are able to kill him off there.
Yep, and Sniper stunning himself on the spiked carapace, trying to assassinate the Nyx Assassin. That's another one of those that's never going to work sort of situations. Luna, however, she's getting this top tower, and they are not fortifying. Oh, there they go.
And that's actually enough to force her off for now. That cat for her has a really big beard.
Yeah, I'm getting that same exact visual bug. I think it's something to do with the shield.
It looks very strange, but you know,
Don't
long
you
beards, lots of knowledge, I think is the rule.
It's still a beta.
I don't think we're in beta anymore, but yeah, close.
Yeah, it's Steam 2.0 beta. Or Source 2.0 beta.
Source 2.0.
It never stops. Interesting scan from the Dire. They're scanning underneath that tower and seeing no one there.
Fridge will push this in, and Rubik's still in the Vendetta. OG really doesn't want to be taking the tower aggro. There's going to be the Vendetta into the telekinesis. There is the Astral Prison available, nicely used to avoid the stomp. And can Wheezy actually come in with the Chronosphere? They actually have to get it, and they do get it onto 2. Meanwhile, OG is still taking a lot of harass from the Ancients now, as Switch is getting taken very low, but there's a nice blinding light leading to him to avoid most of the damage inside the lane. Myth is trying to go on to the rest of the people there, but you know, it's 3 people. They managed to get the Rubik on the side anyway, so I think that's perfectly fine. They've killed off the Sniper and the Rubik. Maybe they even decide to initiate again with Fridge getting the regen back up with the Shrine.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a kind of an odd fight, a very strange initiation, but flawless timing from the
here they go.
though.
There's a glimpse back on the Coddle. He's not going to get away, but the Eclipse is coming through from the Luna. It could be a couple of kills here, taking down both the OD as well as the Disruptor. Wheezy on the high ground, trying to go right for the Coddle. He needs to get this kill, but there's going to be another double edge from the Centaur. He needs to time walk it off, but he's not going to be able to. He just didn't really end up using it. Triple kill for the Luna, getting right back into this fight. Ruff tries to go for the high ground. Swish is there, doesn't have the blink or anything, but they could go right for Chinese, who uses the Vendetta to try to get away. He's going to be fine with the dust getting used. He is still going to be unseen as the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, Faceless Void was a little slow on that time walk. He had it up for about 2 seconds or so before he attempted to use it. He probably could have lived there, but great fight from the Radiant. They took advantage of that invisibility on the Centaur and got a big stomp and comboed it well with the Luna ult. So execution, go in both directions.
Yeah, you got 2 executions, 1 for each team. Chinese, not really able to do so much with the Nyx Assassin here. Does have his level 1 Dagon built up, but the goal for him really has to be to go onto the backlines to make the Rubik or the Sniper very cautious with their initiations in this fight, because he's not actually going to be able to take anybody out with the Nyx Assassin. He's doing a lot more scouting here than actual killing in the game.
I actually have to say that I disagree with the choice of the Dagon in this game. I feel that a Blink Dagger would have been a more beneficial item for him, because it gives him the positioning in the fights to disable the backlines, which is what you need to do against Sniper Luna. Before they have BKBs, you need to be mobile in the fights as a Nyx Assassin, and he's losing out on that opportunity with the Dagon. He has to initiate, and if they have sentries down behind the fights, when you're fighting aggressively and not playing for picks, he loses a lot of that effectiveness. So I'm not sure that I like that choice, but
I think there are other things as well, like you could start building into an Aghanim Scepter. The Blink Dagger gives you a lot to get to the backlines. You don't necessarily need a Dagon for the extra damage, so I think there were other choices, but we'll have to see how the Dagon ends up doing for him.
Yeah, if he starts getting a lot of kills and he is able to snowball into that Dagon 5 or even a Dagon 3, I think in the mid game would be enough for him right now. But if he continues just playing passively like this, it's not a good item in any way.
So meanwhile at top, Faceless Void keeps pushing that in. He's very close to his Diffusal Blade. I think he just needs a little bit more gold before he's able to pick that up. Maybe trying to join the rest of his team as they are at mid. Weaver's on the backlines. This strange Weaver has a Dragon Lance going for the Death Slayer. Just pushes him out of the lane and needs to stay away from the Rubik. There will be the Sentry Ward placed down. Glimpse back onto Nephilim to get him away from here. They get the beautiful Chronosphere on the 3. It's going to allow the OD to do a huge amount of damage, but the Eclipse is there. Nice time walk by Weezy to get away, but the Eclipse is still going on, and it's doing a huge amount of damage, but now Dire Side are just doing so much here. Rhode Island coming up big in this one. Lots of heroes taken low by the Fade Bolt, but they can just go right for the mid lane. They get a triple kill on Fridge after that one with a beautiful Chronosphere, and now Swish still stuck in the kinetic field. There's only so much he can do against this team. He'll continue to Shikuchi around here, but has to be very careful, and there could be a jump up from Wheezy. Also, the glimpse in a second is up now. They get the vision of it, and the kinetic field is going to be there. He continues to try to Shikuchi away. They don't have the vision of him, but he is going to be there. Lifts up the Faceless Void, and he's going to Shikuchi away again. And the Thunderstrike is not... Oh, it is going to kill... No, not going to kill him because he has the Magic Stick or Magic Wand, whatever is the case. He's still at the Shrine there as well, so he wasn't going to fall. Another Fade Bolt gets used, and it's slowing down this push, but not enough to stop Rhode Island from getting the Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, very nice fight. Excellent ult from the Faceless Void, comboed well with the Disruptor, and shout out to Chinese for that Impale there. He caught 2 people perfectly, and that was a hard stun to get, but he catches the Luna as well as the Centaur and really seals the deal on that fight. Well done from him.
He did quite a bit in order to help his team win. And just imagine what he would be able to do with an Aghanim Scepter. And I think that's also... I'm sorry, we were just praising him, and I want to go back to flaming him now. That's also part of the reason why I don't necessarily like going for the Dagon, because you want to try to finish those up all game, and that just means that you're going to... prolong yourself building up an Aghanim Scepter. So I think that there are much better items for him to go. We both said this, and we're going to stop harping on it, but still, he did get a good impale off in that last fight.
Right. You know, if he continues taking those fights like that, not dying...
He's probably going to end up dying here. Not even a chance for an Astral Imprison with the Blink stun. So with that, we might actually see the Radiant side going to Roche. They get a smoke into a great kill, and now without the OD, it's kind of unlikely that the Dire side are going to want to do anything here. They're missing out on a lot of damage.
You know, they might still do something
Disruptor
about it.
It's actually going to go with the Kinetic Field and the Stag Storm, but Sniper immediately starts to put the damage in there. Rubik with the lift is still Shikuchiing through here. There's also an Assassinate doing a lot of damage here to the Disruptor. Uses a mechanism, but that's not going to be enough to save his life. The rest of his team didn't really feel like going in. The Roshan continued for the Radiant side. They use the Dust, trying to make sure that nobody else is there. Say a Nyx Assassin, and they are going to be able to secure themselves a Roshan.
Yeah, I think it would have been a good choice for Disruptor to go in if his team had been there with him, but as it was, he was all alone, and he pays for that one with a little bit of a feed, revealing a mech as well.
Man, don't really want to die too much, especially around the Roshan pit like that, but still, it doesn't really look like Rhode Island are too phased at all. Chinese thinking about going for a kill here. The rest of this team starting to group up and get there, but Myth is only at the Deathway right now. Actually has his BKB as well. I'm wondering how he gets up the gold for such things. He's going to get this Hurricane Pipe next, and the Faceless Void, he's going to have a BKB soon as well.
So what do you think of the choice to put the Aegis on the Luna instead of the Sniper? The Sniper's been struggling a whole lot more. He's 0-3 and 4, whereas the Luna is 5 and 4? 5, 4, and 3? Yeah. I'm thinking that you need to have a little bit more survivability on the Sniper because he's not getting much done in the fights. If he lives longer, he's going to be able to do a lot more damage. And an Aegis would be beneficial for him because the fights have been going for a pretty long time.
Yeah, it's a little bit strange to think about that Aegis decision. I think it's fine for the Luna because she is going to be a little bit more of the frontliner here for UCONN. So, I mean, if you're going to frontline, you definitely can get some use out of the Aegis. We're going to see another smoke here. But if you... The thing is, you can't have the Luna getting left at the end of the fight, and then it's just an Aegis with her being the only person down. Oh, Myth is going to be able to get away for now. The Stag Storm dropped down by the Rubik, but they've already used the BKB, and actually the time-lapse is going to put him right next to the Sniper. Weaver using a lot to get out of there. That's his 9-second BKB, but that's a smoke and a big initiation from the Radiant side that he gets out of.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly worth it to use your BKB there. They used the big team fight ult that they stole, so now is the time to just go ahead and force another team fight. You've got Chrono, you've got the Hammer, you've got Chinese. He just picked up his Dagon 2, so that's becoming a little bit more effective in the fights, and he's got Infinite Vendetta now.
The thing is, they are pushing this into an Aegis, so they have to choose their fight very careful right now. But they still do take a tier 2 tower. But the question is, I really don't think they're... I mean, this isn't even a question for me, it's a statement. I really don't think that they're going to go in for a tier 3 tower push against that Aegis.
Oh, ye of little faith.
I think there's a much better fight at bottom with a couple of heroes going in. We're going to have the time lock forward by the Face of Void. They're going to use the Centaur ultimate to try to get away, but still Nephilim is being chased. Chinese is going to catch him out with the Impale as well as the Vendetta. Coddle is now dead. Just one hit from Wheezy is going to be able to do it. So yeah, it's much better for them to just get pickoffs like that, as the Dara side were trying to respond to that push at bottom, and they managed to at least find one.
Yeah. The URI supports Zhaozu in particular. He has been on fire with his warding this entire series. The vision he's been putting down has been where it needs to be. If you look, you see he knows where the sniper is. He knows where the Centaur is. He knows that there's none of them farming in a jungle. He has a fairly good idea where the Luna is because she was just over here. So really, really nice vision game from URI. It's been, I think, their saving grace. Their execution has been similar on the level of UCONN, but the vision that they've been gaining from the Nyx Assassin and the Disruptor warding has been invaluable this whole series.
Well, looks like they are actually going to push into an Aegis. Shrapnel plays down. Myth is going to get away from it, as the OD has to as well. And Shikuchi is also going to get stolen by the Rubik, so he's got that to maybe go for his initiations here. Also has a Blink Dagger. We'll see how ballsy Rhode Island are going to be with this push. They could also try to go for a gang squad attempt over here, but the OD gets a little bit too close to it. It's going to be the Eclipse, but they are kind of invisible right now, not getting hit by most of those. The Disrupt is going to be the first one to fall. No more Stag Storm for this one, as the Chrono Spear gets dropped on the backside. OD has to go in for some big damage, but he's playing against a couple of BKBs right now. Finally, that hammer comes through. The Centaur gets to stomp onto the OD. He's being taken really low. The Aspirin Prison is going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Also has the Hurricane Pike to get away. He probably might Hurricane Pike right into the Centaur. Luna has to find a little bit more vision here. Assassinate comes through, and it will be able to kill the OD, but the Spike Carapace does hit onto the Luna. Nephilim taken very low. Myth has to start to put the damage right onto him. The Luna uses the Manta style. Very difficult to man fight against that, as Wheezy takes a lot of damage, and he's not going to be able to stay alive there. Now the Luna, about to fall, is actually going to die after that one. We'll see how many Assassinates can come through here. Chinese still has the Spike Carapace available, so he's not going to be in too much trouble for it.
Well, definitely an advantageous fight for the Radiant, but that's really only on the strength of their Aegis. I think without that Aegis, it would have been a very, very different fight, a little bit of a stomp. So
that begs the question, why go in against the Aegis?
Glory. You know, you're feeling good. You want to keep applying the pressure. So they go in. They did get initiated on, and that was just really clever positioning from the Luna and the Centaur in particular, and a little bit of unfortunate timing that Disruptor didn't get his ultimate off. I think if he had wall ulted, they probably still would have been able to win that fight a little more decisively, even against the Aegis. So I don't know that I 100% question the decision to go against the Aegis. It was a bit foolhardy, but they didn't lose all that much.
Yeah, it was still a good fight for Rhode Island despite the Aegis being against them, and you know, it did require a pretty good initiation, a very smart one in from the side. So I think that's more of a UCONN play than a URI misplay, but I think that the Radiant side have to be a little bit more careful in the future. Now, speaking on that, they don't have the Aegis anymore. There is no cheese in this match just yet. I think that would be the next Roshan that gives us that. So what else can your UCONN do here in order to continue to give themselves at least a fighting chance in the team fights?
Right. Here comes that smoke. They may get the Rubik here. I think that's not who they want, but they'll take it.
I think they'll take anything at this point. It's just going to be 3 hits from it. That ends up killing him there very easily. He's built up a Demon Edge right now. He might be thinking about an MKB in case anybody goes for a Butterfly, say the Luna, who was actually thinking about going up right now. Yeah, or the Sniper. But
yeah, Butterfly's good. They have a lot of physical damage on this lineup, so I really think the Butterfly is a good choice. You're going to scale well with damage, you're going to have that evasion, and you're going to be able to move a little bit faster every once in a while. So good item for him, and they're pushing on to the high ground again, and no Aegis this time, so why not?
Yeah, there's no Aegis. A couple of shrapnels being placed down. Kata will slow down this push a little bit. He's actually putting those illuminates all over the place. Myth takes a lot of damage from the Sniper. You just cannot allow him to do that from the backlines. And the Weaver, actually going to confirm going for the MKB. Now the rest of the lanes are still being pushed out. Zazu doing some work at mid. So this push at top isn't really all that big, but still significant to keep the lanes pushed out right now.
Right. There's a good chance they're just going to wait out the Roshan. They have the map control and they can do it. If you just barely lose a fight when the other team has an Aegis, well, if you have an Aegis, then you're totally going to win the next fight, right? It's simple mathematics.
Oh, Chinese has been scouted out over at top. He's probably about to die here. Doesn't even get a chance to use the play carapace, but Weaver is coming into the fight. This is not a very good one for the dark side at all. They're going right for the Coddle. Chinese tries to TP out. He's not going to be able to make it. So that was a bit ill-advised from Chinese. There was a word right on to him, and it was a good job by the Coddle to not really betray the fact that there was indeed a word there.
Right. And good movement from both that the Coddle wasn't lost there. It was very close. He would have gotten blown up by the Weaver if he had been any further up. Scary, scary
now
times.
has the vendetta as he stole it away from the Nyx assassin. He might be able to set something up for his team. Just getting some vision right now though, as the Roshan also about to respawn in a couple of seconds. Rubik still could go for a hero here, but he needs a little bit more help from his team. Rubik's not really known for bursting heroes down on his lonesome here. And Zazu is still in the Rubik sights here. The Centaur could come in with the stomp. He's going to be able to get it only onto the OG. Vendetta goes onto the Disruptor, trying to get him out here, looking for the Chronosphere, only hanging on to one, but it's a very important one. It's the Luna. They completely blow her up. Also two-shotting the Rubik was the OG, and they're looking for the Centaur as well. Centaur doesn't even get a chance to get another stomp off. Triple kill for the OG, and right now the Radiant side, they're just licking their chops, just trying to get back into their own base, because this is a terrible place for them to be right now.
Yeah, that was kind of a strange fight to take. I'm not really sure what the thought process behind that was. I would have liked to see the Rubik pick up the Disruptor, put him on a cliff, and blink away and TP out. He actually did not have a TP on him. So it would have been a pain, but instead they take a fight, doesn't go well, they lose 3-0.
And now at bottom it's about to be 4. Nephilim trying to get away from the Impale, but nicely held by Chinese, and zap him! Looks like the Bug Zapper is going to get turned on to the old men that probably like those things.
Right. Oh, he's going Ether Lens after the Dagon 2. That's just rude.
Yeah, just a little bit. Still the Shrapnel placed down at mid, stopping Fridge from going in, and that's actually going to force out 2 buybacks. That's a pretty big commitment for a push that wasn't really happening too hard at all, but URI looks like they're not really going to be phased at all. Astral Imprisonment's getting stolen a little bit here as they're putting it onto their own creeps. At bottom, Weaver taken down a little bit here. Just a little bit of harass to him, but it looks like the play is still going to be pushing all of the lanes from Rhode Island, as Roshan's also respawns, so they might think about backing up pretty soon as well. Oh, just mistiming the stomp at bottom, and they might try to initiate off of this. Glimpse back onto the Centaur. He can walk out of the Static Storm still with not a very good placement of the kinetic field. They could go right for the Disruptor. He's going to be glimpsed back actually thanks to the Rubik, and well, they use an Eclipse for him. That is just a Disruptor there, guys, but you know, you got to keep those spirits up. And meanwhile the Centaur could find a really good stomp. The Faceless Boy putting himself right into it, right next to Chinese. That I don't really know what was going on. Another Astral Imprisonment stolen by the Rubik. They're chasing this one pretty far with a couple of supports. OD might try to turn things around. He's got a whole lot of mana. Might just stay on the high ground. He needs Chinese to back himself up here. He's going to be hit right back down to the low ground. Stunned after the mana leak, and OD is also dead here. Or maybe not use the BKB, but there's still a lot of physical damage coming through, and after the BKB, he could be in a lot of trouble. The Assassinate could come through as long as there's vision. There's going to be an Astral Imprisonment, again used by the Rubik to get him down, and he will fall immediately after it. Chinese gets one hit with the Vendetta and the Impale, but now he's just in a lot of trouble. Popping the Spike Carapace, maybe a little bit too early there, and will end up falling. This is URI coming apart at the seams right now.
Yeah, it's very strange decision making all the way through. Just you bought 2 back. Go ahead and go take Roche. Don't push onto the high ground until you've done that. They're not going to fight you. And look at that. Now you have to buy back. They're buying back on the OD. They pushed in after losing their Disruptor. I don't understand. But hey, you know, if you're UCONN, you're pretty happy with that right now. They're going to go take Roshan. free.
Yeah, they're going to go right for Roche. They do need a little bit more damage there to help them out. Sniper's not going to ride for a while, and I wouldn't really say that the Centaur and Rubik are really known for taking Roshan quickly, but, you know, Luna's going to go in there, and we'll see if URI can try to stop this at all. OD's going to step up in mid. He's got quite a bit, but he's already bought back, so he really can't afford to die right now. I think that's just going to have to be a free Roshan for UCONN.
Yeah. Just sloppy play from URI there. A little bit of the chain feed, don't go in one by one sort of thing that you always see in pubs.
Yeah, and that just goes to show the strength of the Coddle and getting those extra bonus kills every single time. Using a mana leak, finding the next hero, taking all of their mana away, and that's part of the reason why we see that hero banned out so much here.
Right. Such a strong hero. He's always been strong and very, very annoying too.
Oh, they might actually get a
may
pick
be in
off at
trouble,
bottom.
though.
Yeah, Coddle is backing away, uses the blinding light. The rest of his team trying to show up, but there's going to be a blink. Dagon! See ya, boy. All right.
Oh, there we go. Chinese rethought the decisions he made. He's going for that Dagon 3.
Yeah, he needs more zapping for the old man.
Oh yeah. You just hit him with the Vendetta and Dagon him and he dies.
One Dagon and I'm die. Still top lane is getting pushed in pretty hard, and I don't really think that URI are going to want to try to defend at all. And again, they're pushing up into an Aegis. This is just something they like to do. There's still a sentry ward in that lane, and I guess Chinese is going to go and try to ward that. Spike Carapace gets used, and the word is actually going to get denied. The Chronosphere only goes onto the sniper, and also going to get the Astral Imprisonment stolen by the Rubik to be able to keep the sniper safe throughout the Chronosphere. So it's not really the best initiation, but now the OD is trying to put out some damage. Luna starts to go onto him. The Stack Storm gets placed down onto a couple of BKB targets, but now with the Aegis being expired on the Luna, they have to find some way to get back into this fight. Meanwhile, Weaver is forcing people out. He's just doing so much zoning right now, looking for that hammer to be dropped from the OD. I don't know if he's done it just yet. No, he still hasn't. He's got 20 intelligence stolen. Chinese to the backlines. Fritch is very far ahead, and he's going to get the Astral Prison stolen again. Chinese out of mana. They're going to make a smart decision now. They've taken the Aegis off of the Luna, and they're going to try to back away. Nephilim still wants to get in this fight, though. He's going to go for the high ground, nearly hit by the Impale, but it's not quite going to hit. Chinese is going to get stunned up once again, and the Blinding Light is not going to put OD to the low ground. They get a stun onto him. The Luna trying to do some damage. Meanwhile, Wheezy going for the backlines again, just forcing them out. Diffusal Blade on the Luna. They're doing a huge amount of damage there. They're taking him very low. Oh, Astral Prison is going to save him once again. Wheezy with the time walk forward, and the Weaver in a lot of trouble. Has a time lapse available, but not going to use it just yet. Oh, the OD looking for the hammer. Not going to happen with the Centaur going to the Centaur going to the backlines, and Wheezy's going to be taken out as well. It's just a situation where Rhode Island aren't going to be able to get their spells off.
Stop going in.
Stop.
Into those fights, please. It just kills me to watch things like that because you're getting away scot-free. You go back in, you feed 3 kills. You don't do that.
Don't do that. Just stop.
Just,
Why?
It's just killing me. It hurts me.
What's going on? Why must you do this?
Right. Good effort from UConn though. They're taking advantage of these mistakes that Rhode Island are making, and it's keeping them in this game that they honestly should not be in.
Yeah.
And I think they can get a Rax off of this. They've got a full minute before the OD is back up.
Yeah, at the very least, it's going to force out a Faceless Void buyback, which he does have Chronosphere, so it wouldn't be the worst buyback in the world. They're just getting Weaver back up right now. Maybe they could try to hold it if they can get a really good Chronosphere, which that has been something that's really been missing from the last 2 fights. But yep, the buyback's going to get forced out. Disruptor picked up and put down, looking for a Chronosphere to try to save him. Assassinate will go to the backlines, and okay, Rubik's going to fall. Now Luna can definitely absolutely decimate these bases, and she's going to be getting away with the butterfly. There's going to be the Faceless Void going in, but it's going to be really difficult. Oh, looks like Mackerel Sky might have lagged out a little bit there, and he just kind of stood there. Now they are going to see him with the dust, and I guess they're just going to have to lose the sniper. He goes over to the side, trying not to be seen, but Myth is still chasing him right now. He's going to try to TP out, and they'll even drop a Chronosphere for it. They're like, screw this guy. Kill him off now.
I bought back. I'm using my ult. No one can stop me. Well, all they lose there, they lose the Faceless buyback and they lose the range racks. It's not as bad as it could have been, but that should have never happened in the first place, guys. So good on UConn to take advantage of that. The Luna does manage to get out, and they force a buyback on the most valuable hero, well, second most valuable hero on a dire side. It's another close one. Very, very close.
Yeah, very close. I'm hoping that we don't have a Megas on Megas battle. There, we do start to see the racks going down in the lanes. Horses will rush down mid, but it's not actually touching onto anything. And OD has arrived here. See, we don't have a Chronosphere for another 60 seconds, but these lanes can be pushed in quite a bit. Myth is going right for the racks. He's going to start hitting onto it. And Weavy goes for the high ground. He's going to take out... Oh, there's the hammer drop down right away. They want to make sure they can get that out this time around. Luna taking care of those bugs. Chinese on the backlines. I don't know if there's vision of him at all. He's just kind of sitting there. There's no a gem on the Luna either. So... or the Coddle rather is the one that you would be having the gem on, but they are going to throw another blinding light out. Myth taking a little bit of damage from this one, still has the time lapse available, doesn't use it just yet. There will be the Luminate, but he has already got the BKB and starts going there. Oh, there's a Hurricane Pike by the OD, but now he's going to get stunned by the Centaur. A little bit of damage there. The Shrine gets used to heal him back up, and well, the BKB gets popped to secure the retreat for URI. They're not going to make the same mistake that they have before.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so much better decision making from URI in that fight. They take the racks, they play this kind of skirmish style of Dota. They stay further back, and they're going to pick up the shrines now and reconsolidate their control on the map. Wait out of Roshan. Take more fights once your BKBs are back up, once you have Chronosphere again. That's the game plan that you need to utilize. UCONN, they need to smoke up. They need to get picks, take the advantage while they're moving around the map trying to farm. It's not okay to sit back and just farm while they do whatever they want. So you need to set up control around the Roche pit, get as many picks as you can, make them scared to be out on the map. Don't just let them do whatever they want. So it's really both teams, they need to be active on the map and finding that control before the next Roshan comes up. That's going to be a pivotal point in this game.
Yeah, they have to continue to get those wards out. We've talked about it a lot. The Radiant actually do have some pretty advanced wards out on the map, a little bit around the Roshan pit as well. So it's not like they don't see anything, but they do need to kind of straight back. They are down a full set of racks, whereas they have only taken the ranged racks so far in mid. So they do have a little bit of work to get done here, but I wouldn't say that the curtains are closing right now, especially considered what happened in that game. I think that with this series, I think we both know that anything can happen here.
Yeah, you can't call anything with these two teams. This has been a spectacular matchup between two very even teams.
So
But, it does look like Rhode Island, they are grouping up. They may want to be aggressive into the Radiant jungle. There's a smoke. Okay. I like this. I like this decision a lot. You have an advantage. Push your advantage. Go ahead and get one more set of racks.
they're also going to see a couple of heroes at mid now who absolutely have to back up out of that. They're trying to get some warding done with Rubik, and he's going to get seen here immediately. Do they actually go for him? He blinks out. Some good reactions, but is it going enough? He's going to get glimpse back, and he's basically going to fall here. Thunder Strike stolen. That's definitely not going to lead to the Rubik doing anything that can save his life. They find that kill, and Chinese gets just right down and dirty with that Illuminate with the Spike Carapace. They can push out mid and try to even out the Rex game if they really want to, or Roshan, it's not respawned yet, so whatever.
Yeah, he'll be back up shortly, perhaps. If he is, again, very advantageous for the Dire. If not, it gives you some more time. Go farm the jungle, set up, and get ready to take that next fight. You're going to have all your ults up. And, okay, a medium respawn time.
Yeah, it's not the best, not the worst. It's going to take a while, and Chinese might just be watching paint dry right now inside the Roshan pit. Centaur is there. They've got the gem on Coddle, and they have the vision of Chinese inside the pit. Spike Carapace. Oh, no. They know that he's there. Come on. You can't stay there, man. He actually blinks away, though. Still has to stay there because of the mana leak. Doesn't want to have too much mana getting taken from his body. But still, there's a lot of control around the Roshan pit that both teams are trying to establish right now.
Right. And it's going to be, again, a vision battle. You have the Coddle Blast, you have the Kinetic Field from the Disruptor giving you vision into the pit, as well as the wards you have up. So a bit of an advantage for the Radiant right now. That's what they need. They need to be able to pick their fights when they come into the pit here, because we saw down at that bottom tier 3 how much of an advantage they get when they get the initiations into these fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Weaver, for the talent tree, he's gone for extra Shikuchi movement speed. And the build that I've actually seen some Weavers go with when they pick up that talent is they don't have boots. But we do see that the Weaver has boots of travel right now.
I like this. I like the warp speed Weaver. I think it's very good against what he's dealing with. It gives him the ability to gap close against a lot of the heroes on the enemy team. And they're doing a lot of physical damage. Luna, although her ultimate is a ton of damage, she is a scaling agility carry, so a lot of her damage is from right clicks. Centaur, a lot of his damage is physical damage.
Well, check out the smoke. Somebody shows in the mid lane, then they go right. Oh, Centaur's going to break it. A little bit unlucky there, but Weezy still wants to get some things done. He's going to blink forward, but again, he's not going to find anybody for the Chronosphere just yet, and that's going to sound the retreat for the Radiant side. Both teams just playing on the razor's edge right now. Ruff going in through bottom. Roshan has respawned, and you know that's a very easy thing for. Oh, do they actually catch out the Luna? They did have some vision of her going through the jungle right now. She's gonna be recalled, and yeah, she's gonna be kept safe right now. It's very safe to go for Roshan right now, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Now is the time. Go get that Roche. Go push onto the high ground and win the game. That's what you want to do if you're Rhode Island. If you're UConn, you need to know when they're taking that Roche and get in there, smoke over, and try to get them right before they take it and get it for yourself. It's so important that you get it right now. The reason they're still in this game is because they've had 2 Aegises, because this one is cheese. You can't just let it go.
And Weaver's going to go right into it. There will be a reaction from UConn. They're going to push out the mid lane, but they're not making their way towards the Roshan pit fast enough. The Nyx Assassin is going to try to scout at anything. It's nighttime as well, so the vision limited for the Coddle. He's not going to see as much as he usually does, and he does have the gem there as well. I don't know if they saw the Nyx Assassin. He's still scouting out things. Has to be very careful because of that gem, but the Roshan has gone the way of the dire side, and they want to try to initiate onto this one. Myth getting into the fight a little bit, very far ahead with Chinese, but the rest of this team, they need to push out the lane and be a little bit more careful here.
Yeah, they needed to go on that one. They knew it was happening. They didn't have any smokes. They needed to pick one up. They're saying, well, we'll push up the mid lane. We'll have enough time. We can get there. But that's not the case, and they really pay the price for that one. It's so scary for UConn right now. They need to take a fight perfectly to continue in this game.
Yeah, they need to have a great initiation. They need to make sure that the OD isn't able to get off the damage, and that's going to be extremely difficult with the Aegis that he now has. And also Weezy, they can't allow him to have a good Chronosphere, so the spread has to be very good. Oh no, now we've got Weaver getting pretty aggressive here. He's going to get stunned for a while, and he's actually going to be killed off. Well, okay, that's one way that Radiant can prolong this game, just making the Weaver take silly deaths like that.
Odd choice from him. Weezy has finished his Aghanim Scepter. I would like to point that out. That's going to be very big in the next couple fights.
Yeah, so he gets the Aghanim Scepter, so he has access to a couple more Chronospheres, and we'll see if he's able to actually utilize that. It just means that the dire side are going to be able to look for fights a little bit more often. Maybe his buyback is more effective. Speaking of buybacks, everybody has it right now.
Right. This smoke movement, not going to catch anybody out. They're going to get a bounty rune to their troubles. They will get the shrine as well. So a little bit of gold going to everybody.
We do have a lot of
It's a shame to waste that smoke.
Yeah, they just go smoke and get the shrine, but still they can get some more control over the map, limit the Dire's mobility over to the river area, and just try to give themselves a little bit more time here, a little bit more gold for these defenses.
Yeah, I still disagree with that smoke, though, because I didn't take the opportunity to put any wards down. When you're using a smoke like that, you want to make sure that you're getting vision out of it. They don't have any vision anywhere right now, basically. They have the single defensive ward right in front of a tower where they basically have vision. Anyway, they're not utilizing their wards effectively, and it's really costing them a lot on the map. They're getting picks occasionally, but those are more mistakes from Rhode Island than they are advantage on the map from their own plays.
Yeah, it's more the Weaver saying, please kill me. I'd rather be dead right now than playing Dota, which I guess a lot of people do feel, which is really unfortunate.
It's been 3 hours of Dota. I want to take a nap.
It has been a lot of Dota. Jeez.
It has been. I'm not complaining, though. I've really been enjoying this. These games have been very, very good.
We do have a couple of heroes going for items on the Radiant side. So Centaur and Rubik will not have buybacks for this one. They're just putting up a couple of items right now. Rubik close to a boost of travel, I guess. Luminate will keep the lane pushed out, so it will be very difficult for a URI to push this in. And Weaver's still making sure that the mid lane is pushed out as well. We'll see how this goes. Dire side still want to try to make good on their Aegis plays here. And the top lane is going to be what ends up getting pushed in. But again, this is very difficult. There's a sniper on the back lines. There's a Coddle there as well. This siege is kind of difficult for URI here. So they'll keep the lane pushed out. Bottom's actually still pushing in. So I guess what it's going to have to come down to is forcing the Radiant to push out the bottom lane and then maybe initiate for a fight. Because in order to take this tower, they absolutely have to take care of like the Coddle, the sniper, one of those. Oh, Faceless Void going in. He's actually going to get a Chronosphere onto the sniper, popping the BKB there, going right for the sniper, trying to get him down. There's going to be the Stag Storm nearly killing him, and the Weaver is going to be the one that finishes off the play. Now they need to take down the Luna as Sniper buys back into this one. Myth is getting out. Fritch in a lot of trouble. That's just going to be the Aegis going to him though, and well, Weaver's not going to be able to stay alive there at all. And OG is going to spawn back, and he's in a lot of trouble. There's no one from his teammate that will help him out, and they just dive a little bit too far for it. And now here comes the cleanup from the Dire side. Assassinate out onto the Faceless Void, and they're looking for a stomp, but Faceless Void is going to be able to stay out for now, and Mantis Style is out of the mana leak and blinks away, so he's going to be able to stay up. And meanwhile, that was not the most auspicious of fights for the Dire side at all.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
they needed to catch more than one.
Alright, so he's killed him.
They needed to catch more than one in the Chronosphere. Just barely getting the sniper is not worth it. They kind of went on a hair trigger again, and this has been their downfall throughout this entire series, is taking inadvisable fights at the tier 3s.
At least they still do have the Rax advantage at bottom, so they have those super creeps pushing in, but they really do need to be able to get the pick-off play before they get that tower. Like, going in against buybacks against this Radiant team, it's just so difficult. So they have to find some kind of way that allows them to execute a little bit better, because in that last fight, like you said, getting one into a Chronosphere is just not really what you need.
Yeah, no, it's really not. They've got to get at least 2 of the cores or 1 of the cores in the Coddle, because if you're not getting them, they're going to be able to blinding light you and force out a BKB, or they're just going to be able to do enough damage that they can get through whatever they want. And losing a tier 2 through the back door,
yeah,
pretty
one thing
good
that
for
they
UCONN.
do a little bit better actually is that they realize that after the sniper buys back, they absolutely have to back up, because they don't really have as much to be able to go on him a second time, and plus the rest of the team is doing a huge amount of damage. So there was a better realization this time from Rhode Island that they had to back up. But the thing is, when you push that deep into the base, it's really difficult to do just that.
Yeah, they went for blood, and they were close, but not quite there, and they paid the price for it. They're still in a pretty good position. Their 3 cores are just slightly behind the Luna. So they still should have the advantage in these fights, but if they keep losing fights, it's not going to last for much longer.
Yeah, sure as hell not. So I'm going to try to make sure they continue to hold the creep equilibrium in their favor. Disruptor actually nearly at his Aghanim Scepter, so he's going to be able to get those items muted in the Static Storm. And we'll see how he does with that, if it's actually going to be effective for him. But man, these guys really like to play their Dota, because we have our second 60-minute plus game in this series, and doesn't really seem like it's showing too many signs of stopping right now.
No, it's not. Although, looks like Rhode Island, they're committed. They're gonna go for the push top until it stops working or it works strategy.
Yeah, they just have to win this war of attrition, trying to make the bottom lane push in a little bit more. It was kind of lost control of in the last fight a little bit, but it was very small. And still, shrines are very difficult for creeps to get through still. So
Right.
it's going to take a long time for that lane to push in.
Yeah, I would like to see them be a lot more patient with their pushing this time. Just kind of force them to run back and forth, let that bottom lane in, like you said, and maybe go back for a Roche that's going to be up relatively soon, 3 minutes or less.
Yeah, it's
But
just difficult
don't
to
just
go for that
dive.
siege.
Yeah, 1 minute 20 seconds. So a fairly short Roshan timer. And I think that they should put the Aegis onto the Weaver. It wasn't super effective on the OD. He lived for a fairly long time, but the Weaver is where all your damage is coming from. You see how much he does. It's pretty insane. But they're catching him and blowing him up.
Yeah, the Weaver's having a very difficult time staying alive this match. You can see him in these fights, he's getting stomped on. Then from that point, a lot of the CC is being focused on him. So right now, the dire side have to focus on 2 lanes. Rhode Island really need to hope that bottom lane pushes in a little bit more. And eventually those waves are going to build up. But the Luna Illusions already did a very good job of pushing that out. And I would assume that's going to be the case. And it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for the dire side to win this war of attrition. So they keep the Radiant side in the base. They're just waiting for each other to make a mistake at this point.
Right. It's both teams just lining up, sizing each other up, saying, well, who's going to make the stupid dive first? And so far, it's been Rhode Island, but maybe this is the time when UCONN makes a mistake.
Looks like the center is having a good time as well with his taunts, just doing the dance. And I guess Rubik wants to get in it too.
Absolutely.
He's actually going to go a bit far forward, almost like he's trying to bait something out. He does steal the Astro in prison, a great steal for him once again. He's had some really good plays with that, and it makes it even more so that if there is a Chronosphere, it has to catch a lot more than one person.
Right. Bloodthorn picked up on the OD. That is going to be, I think, a very useful item for him. They're going to be able to blow up the person that they're targeting, the person who isn't caught in the astral.
Oh, Chronosphere out on the 2. They're going to go right for it, and the sniper in some troubles, and they're not actually going to be able to get the astral in prison onto him. Now the OG going for the backlines of the fight. Rubik was the one to fall, and now the Static Storm is going to go out on the 3, but Wheezy in a lot of trouble still, even in the middle of that Static Storm. Luna's actually going to stay alive. One hit from the OG is going to do it. He's not got the Aegis, so he's actually going to fall. Weaver has bought back and gets right back in the fight. Was trying to go for the tier 3 tower. He's going to lose all of his mana here, though, and he's actually going to die back after that.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, at mid, Disruptor's trying to play against Rubik. It's not really going too well for him at all. Disruptor is in a lot of trouble. Actually,
oh
what?
No!
Actually
He
gets
got
out.
so
The stomp
lucky
didn't
there.
hit.
Wow. Lucky Disruptor, but I think they're going to have to buy back at least one person here. The OD is likely going to be the victim of the buyback here. Didn't have his cheese in his inventory and paid the price for it. Okay, Nick's actually being the one to buy back.
Yeah, Nick's buys back. They still have the Chronosphere up, but that might be enough to save him. Meanwhile, okay, Faces Foot, I don't really know what's going on there. Does have buyback. OD buys back as well. I guess he was just looking for the sick Chronosphere plays, but that's just going to force out a little bit more on the dire side for this kind of a defense. And UCONN might be in the driver's seat of this one. They're going to go right for the racks. OD is going to also get the Astral Imprisonment stolen once again by the Rubik, and they have to go forward here. Astral Imprisonment right onto the OG. They get the Static Storm. They need to get a glimpse. Disruptor's going very far forward for it. They're going to get Sniper back in the fight there. They're looking to get him down. They need to get the damage. They're going to put the Chronosphere out onto a few. OD doing some good damage, but Rubik is still doing a lot of work on the backside with the Yule Scepter. Center is going to fall, so they get a couple of kills off of this one. Buybacks are still available. Oh, they get the Atos onto the Rubik over the side, and one hit from the OG is going to be the death of the Rubik. He's actually down without buyback. We were saying that UCONN would be in the driver's seat of this one, but I think they just got into a car crash.
Yeah, it's been a wreck from start to finish, and we're coming along to more buybacks. Buyback City here. Both teams buying back a ton of people. Let's see, that's 3 buybacks, 4 or 5 buybacks now.
Everybody back in the
last minute,
fight.
yeah.
That's one thing that UCONN do. They want to try to make it so that they have the lowest cooldowns possible on buyback, so they use them very quickly. They're not just going to wait until somebody pushes in the base, which means that it's very simple for URI to decide, yeah, we don't need to necessarily go for this because the buyback's already down. We'll just wait until we have a little bit more of an advantage. Illuminate continues to take the lane out, but the tier 3 tower is going to fall, and Luna waiting over to the side for initiation. I don't think that URI think that they have to go in, and plus, the Roshan's up. You guys can go for it.
Right. Go get the Roche. Now is the time. Put it on the Weaver so that he doesn't buy back or die back again. I can't speak English.
Yeah, diebacks galore here. English is difficult to speak, just talk to non-native speakers, but looks like these speakers, they know their way around the Dota map. You don't necessarily need to speak English to play Dota, and these guys are doing pretty well going for the Roshan. And if we take a look at the buildings inside of the Radiant base, we still have a tier 3 tower up at top. 4 racks still available. They need to defend those pretty well, and this Aegis and Cheese is going to once again go to the dire side.
That's right, and they do put the Aegis on the Weaver this time, so I'm thankful for that. He's really been kind of the focus target, and he does so much damage. They need to focus on him. They need to make sure that he is doing what he needs to do in these fights. And the Aegis is the key to this, although so hard to push against Coddle at this point in time.
Now the OD also has double cheese, so he just needs to go up there and make sure that he doesn't die. He's got the BKB double cheeses, and while he's got a lot of ways to be able to put out some huge damage, he just has to make sure that he doesn't get disabled out. And Dire will go over to the trees here, but it's been scouted out by the Radiant Observer a little bit here. There's definitely a lot of knowledge about where the Dire side are.
Yeah, I would like to see a gem picked up by the Disruptor. They're really at a disadvantage in terms of vision over here while they're making these pushes, and it's allowing these setups for UCONN. They're able to get into the fights in the ways that they want, and they're underneath an observer ward right now, so they know where at least 2 people are, probably 3, because they saw the Nyx Assassin earlier. And they did just barely see that smoke, I believe.
Yeah, possibly. The question is Faceless Void going to go in? He's been really the initiator for most of these fights, and that's a little bit strange to have your highest net worth or higher net worth be at the initiator spot. Nyx Assassin actually going to go in looking for the Chronosphere. They're going to get it onto the BKB Luna, and she can't be asked to imprison up. Beautiful blinding light by the Kyle, pushing them all away. They're still trying to go into the Luna, and Weeze is having a very difficult time of it. They're going very deep for it. First cheese eaten by the OD. They really have to back up right now. They've taken a lot of harass here. Meanwhile, Myth is just going right for the racks. The rest of the team not really on the same page. Chinese, he's going to stun out the sniper, but he's still in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to fall here. BKB used by the OD. They've taken him down 1 rack. He has to force staff out. Is he actually going to be able to get away? He doesn't have the cheese is on cooldown for another 30 seconds, so OD about to fall. In fact, he will. Stackstorm drop down very late. Is just going to secure the escape for Disrupt, and they just have to back up right now. With all their buybacks being down, they need every single person on the deck here to try to defend the Dire base.
Right. They do get a Rax out of it, but it's going to be scary for the next 100 seconds because they did have to buy back on that OD. His buyback is not going to be up for that entire duration, so they're going to have to be very, very careful.
Could be in some trouble. There's the Illuminate just out of the vision of him. He's going to be lifted up with the telekinesis, but now the Rubik in a lot of trouble. He's going to be able to shoot Kuchi away. Oh, nice time walk away from the stomp from Centaur Warrunner, and, well, these kind of initiations are only delaying UCONN right now.
Yeah, yeah. If they had gotten a Faceless Void, it would have been huge, but Weaver showing up just in time and forces the Rubik to Shikuchi before he dies. It was very, very close there.
Well, the push starts to come in again from the Radiant side. Still 50 seconds left until the OD and Nyx Assassin respawn, but they still have the Aegis on the Weaver. Was not used in the last fight. So this should probably secure 1 Rax for UCONN, and the Faceless Void just decides to step up and do a little bit of damage. I'm not really sure what was up with him there as a Disruptor gets lifted up into a couple of glaives, taking some damage from it, forcing out a fortification. They do have a couple of shrines still available as Weaver starts to go right for Luna, and she takes a lot of damage from this one. Myth uses a BKB. They're looking for the Chrono. Oh, just the tip gets onto the Luna, but it's also going to catch out the Weaver onto it, and they haven't killed the Luna just yet. Eventually do get it with the last hit Basher. Disruptor very low health, but he goes right in to try to support the Weaver, looking for a good kinetic field into a Stack Storm. He's going to get the glimpse back onto the Centaur. He's going to eventually fall right to the sniper as the Weaver is going to eventually be there and respawn after the Aegis. OD has gotten enough time to respawn, and they actually find the Rubik over to the side, but Luna gets back into this fight. Weaver in some trouble, has gotten the mana leak on him, and he has to, oh no, he's just time left right in the middle of everything, and he absolutely had to with all his mana going away, but maybe it would have been better for him to try to juke into the trees or something, and now he does have buyback to get back in this fight. He's going to be forced to use it here. The Rax is going to fall, and right now you kind of just have to back up. They get the Atos and the glimpse back onto the center. He tries to TP away, and I don't know if he's been Astro in prison. He actually has been, so he's going to be kept there. Meanwhile, lots of kills for the Weaver. He goes to back lines, and that center does not have buyback. Rubik's down for another 50 seconds. The full set of racks is gone, but URI might be going right back down the mid lane now.
Right. This game is just people running down lanes and then dying and everyone buying back. It's insanity. Refresher Orb out for the Faceless Void. This is going to be enormous. He's been catching 1 or 2 people with the Chronos. They've been acceptable, but that second Chronosphere is going to be huge if he can get the targets he absolutely needs. And
So right
with
now,
Luna no buyback right now, it's really terrifying for UCONN.
yeah, Luna no buyback. The Centaur doesn't have his buyback up for another 50 seconds, so actually that's going to be off cooldown. But the thing is, he doesn't have enough gold for it when he gets back up, so the push is going to continue pretty hard here for URI. They're going for the base. 70 seconds left on the Centaur. Rubik up in 5. The Illuminate will come through, and Chinese doesn't use the spike carapace fast enough, but the Weaver takes down the tier 3 tower top. Fritch is going in here. He's going to get blinding light back and also hit with the Aegis that was reflected back with the Lotus Orb. There's going to be 1 Chronosphere hitting only onto the Coddle, as they also get the okay, Sniper on the backlands. They're going right for him. Mantis Style gets used as Rubik actually walks right into the Chronosphere. He's in a little bit of trouble. Nephilim has managed to stay alive as the Faceless Void is going to chase him down. Chinese in a lot of trouble. He's actually going to be blinded light all the way into the base. Nephilim does fall, and OG starts to work on the tier 4 towers. The racks are about to take in. It's about to be Megas. Sniper buys back. URI, they might have just won this one for the 2-game set. Or for the 3-game set, winning it here in just 2. They want to go in for this win. That's going to be Megas for the Dire side, and Weaver will be staying alive for a little bit longer. Switch wants to go in on this one, but Weezy's going to go right on top of him. The Atos is there. Rubik staying alive a little bit longer with the Yule Scepter. They need to kill the... Oh, wow. The Sniper just dies right away to the OD, and I think that might be it. Buyback on the Rubik, but he can't really defend this at all. The Impel comes through. That's going to be everybody down, and that should be the game. Call it for URI, because they're going to be able to take this long best-of-3 series in just 2 games.
Well-earned victories from URI, but commendations to UConn. They played it through, and they made it look very, very good. They lost in style despite the 2-0. Great series. Excellent, excellent games from both teams, and I believe this is the first game that URI has won in the AVGL so far, so that puts both teams at 1-2.
That is extremely surprising that URI had not won before this, because they did play a hell of a match this time around against UConn. So maybe it just takes the right lineup for the team in order to win it here, as they do take it in 74 minutes. So a combined series time in just 2 games is longer than most best-of-3s take. This entire series took 157 minutes of in-game time in order to complete.
I don't know about you, but I am exhausted. That was more Dota than any one man can handle. So I'm glad that I
that's
had.
Why you got me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm glad that I had you here to watch it with me and enjoy some fantastic Dota at the AVGL.
For sure, definitely some amazing matches once again in the AVGL Spring League, and lots more matches are being played as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned in the future for more AVGL broadcasts. We've got a lot more games that we do: Smite, Paladin, CSGO, and then Dota is in there as well. But we've got a lot of AVGL stuff going on. Try to get involved if you can, because these matches are just absolutely fantastic. So thanks for watching, guys. This is going to do it for the AVGL tonight. We do have a couple of extra content things coming in the future, but for tonight, that's going to do it. And I think that we are all ready for a little bit more rest. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you go check out the closed qualifiers to the Kiev Major, which are, I think, still going on right now. And for me, Pythian Legume, as well as my good friend Nakamov and the rest of us here at the AVGL, thanks for watching, and as always, cheers.
Why don't you just retire?